Good day, everybody, and welcome to the Ammunation. I am your host, Craig Bragg, surprisingly well lit tonight, and with me is my co-host, the irascible Irving Twin. How are you, sir?
Living the dream. How you doing, Craig?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm doing good. Doing well, I guess.
No,
So yeah,
good.
back for Ammunation. I'm sorry that we missed it last week, but I was otherwise engaged, so we couldn't do it last week. So we're here this
I
week.
had better things to do.
No, I had prior commitments that I could not get out of. How about that? I was hanging out with my feminist vegetarian friend.
Why?
Because she's friends with the wife, and the wife said, "Oh, we have plans with our friends in Guelph." I'm like, "All right, I guess we're going to go hang out with that god awful feminist." Her husband's cool. Her husband's so laid back, and he's total normie, but he's starting to notice the insanity of shit. So he's slowly becoming red pilled.
The normies are catching on, man.
Oh, I know.
The lemmings are looking down and going, "Hey, how come food expensive?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, in Canada, they're being convinced because of stupidity that it's those greedy grocery stores. They're why food's expensive. The greedy grocery stores. We got to boycott Loblaws. Fuck you. Excuse me. But yeah, tonight, folks, we are Ammunation 53. We're going to be talking uh, for a little while about God Emperor. The what do you call it? What did you call him earlier? The
The
king,
outlaw king.
the outlaw king, 45th president, soon to be 47th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And we've got Greater Ajax in the chat, as well as someone called Lace uh, saying Pox Toxic's name. I guess she knows Pox. Greater Ajax, feminist vegetarian. Isn't that redundant? Yeah, almost, right? At Lace says Pox. Yeah, so we had prior commitment. They were going in to see Les Mis in Toronto. I didn't want to go see Les Mis. But I ended up going there for the Saturday. We did this ARG called Clued Up, and we did an escape room. We did really well at the escape room. We got out with like 15 minutes to spare, so that was cool. But
Nice.
yeah, we like doing the escape rooms. But yeah. Anyway, folks, welcome to the Ammunation. I hope you'll stick around a while and join us in the irreverence and nonsense that makes up this live stream. Who contributed most to the escape? I'd say it was me and the vegetarian. I hate to say it, but we were. You know what the problem was? No, I won't say that. Actually, no. I would say it was the vegetarian and her husband. I was at a loss for a lot of them because it was based on the anime or manga Death Note. You've seen Death Note,
Uh,
Death Note, right? So
I'm
you
aware
have
of
to
it.
you have to recover the Death Note, and then you have to all the clues are based on the dates that people died and where they died and stuff like that. So it was a little bit arcane, if I'm gonna be honest. I helped out for sure, mainly in finding stuff, but less in solving the problems. But I would think it was more the vegetarian and her husband. They actually did probably the most. What's up, Ajax? I could have nailed that. Death Note is dope. Yeah, lots of people love Death Note. My friends didn't know anything about it. I knew of it, but I've never read it. I think I've seen the movie, and I might have seen some anime clips on 4chan or something, but and some memes for sure.
The
Yeah.
live action Death Note with Willem Dafoe.
No, this was the Korean live note Death Note, or the
Oh,
Japanese live note Death Note, live action Death Note. But yeah, so that's where I was last week. That's why there was no Ammunation last week. So I'm glad you all joined us this week for it. Why don't we get started with our normally first topic? Do you even lift, bro? How is your fitness journey going, Mr. Twin?
it's going. I'm taking a page out of your book. I'm more concerned this past few weeks with things like proper form, slow
Yeah,
rep, rather than trying to just push for max weight as often as
yeah,
possible and stuff. And I think it is really, really helping because I'm not like oh, let's just do half of what I can actually lift. It's like, no, let's not go for my absolute max, and let's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
be one tick below there and
yeah.
push hard. Like get more reps. And that what are they? Is it the eccentric or concentric? Which is which? I prefer positive and negative cleaner.
Eccentric is when you're going back to your start position. That would be the eccentric. So if you slow the eccentric, right? Like I'm doing because today I did pull downs.
Yeah.
So going back to the top position is the
Yes.
eccentric, right?
Okay.
So
Very slow that movement.
yeah,
That stuff like that, right? And that's seems to be, yeah. Well, I feel it, so
yeah,
that's a
definitely,
good
right.
sign.
I'm on the set. I just finished the second week of this mesocycle. I've been doing. I told you about the RP hypertrophy app.
You did, yes.
So I've been using that. I'm on the second week, and it's really quite ingenious because basically, I reported my numbers the first week, and then it basically said, okay, you're going to do this exercise again, but I want you to do one more rep on each set. And while you only did 2 sets last week, you're going to do a third set and do as much as you can, leaving 2 reps in reserve. So it takes all the guesswork out of it. I just like, okay, I got to hit that benchmark. And sometimes I go a little more than it's telling me I have to do, and sometimes I go a little bit less than it's telling me I have to do. And it keeps track of all that. And then after each exercise, it says, how was the joint pain? How was the pump?
Mm.
Do you feel it pushed you to your limits, or was it easy, or was it just right? That kind of stuff. And then it adjusts it based on that. So
there's a weird thing that was there. You're going to add a set, and then you're going to do as many as you can, less 2. Why?
Yeah.
Why less 2? Just
because on week 3, it's going to be 1 rep in reserve. And then on week 4, it's going to be no reps in reserve. And then week 5 is my deload week. So on the 5th week, I'm going to push myself as much as I can do, because I don't think it's necessarily advisable to go into the gym every time and work to failure. I think at least that's Mike Israel's point of view. You don't have to work to failure every time. Go a few reps in reserve. But in this particular thing, it's a 5-week mesocycle, with the 4 weeks being the heavy lifting, with reducing the reps in reserve each week until the 5th week, in which I do the deload, and then I do as much as I can, but at like 60% weight.
See, I'll do 5 sets of each major exercise that I'm doing for the muscle group that day. If I'm not failing the last 3, I could have lifted more weight, is my thought, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, why didn't I go to failure? Like, and it's not like, 2 reps and I failed. No. My goal is 8 to 10. And the 8th one I'm barely doing, the 9th one I can't actually, and the 10th one I barely pull it. But I actually go for even those short range, incomplete reps for the last 2, because that's still time under tension.
Yep.
With a very slow eccentric, right? So
I guess
I don't know.
I guess the mentality behind it is, if you're starting to feel pain, like fatigue in the muscle, you're also going to start to feel fatigue in the joints. And so for the sake of avoiding injury, stop with a couple of reps in reserve. That's the idea, I guess, anyway. But anyway, I'm working on it. I like that it's, I programmed it out to be a 5-week long routine, and then when I'm done it, I'll see how I feel, and I can repeat it. I could do something different. It's a really cool little app. I'm not going to lie. I really do like it.
And on the other hand, for whatever disagreements I might have with the idea, it's showing in your t-shirts. So good for you. You must be doing something right.
Thanks, buddy. You're wearing your coffee t-shirt, I see.
No, this one, the creator of this one made a point of not actually naming it because this is the DMT molecule.
Oh, is that DMT?
Yeah.
That's cool. You got to get the adrenochrome one.
I don't think anyone makes one. I was thinking about making one that, like, with the top and the bottom banner, follow the white rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Do it.
Because I don't know how to fucking make curved banner stuff on my GIMP program yet, because I don't bother fucking around with it.
Yeah, I don't use GIMP as much as I use Inkscape. Inkscape is more of like a page layout program.
I don't even see. Yeah. Maybe I'll send you the bunny picture and you can set one up for me. We'll split the profits if we sell any.
Yeah, why not? Folks, if you're watching us on YouTube, that's great, but we are also live on Odyssey and X. You can watch us on X. So let's just make sure we're playing on X. Let's go to my profile. We are live on X. You can watch us right there, which is nice. And I'm assuming we're on Odyssey as well. I can go there and check. Make sure it's running.
Get a Kick channel, lazy N-words, says Pox. Is Kick where Warski fucking streams? Is that where the Kino Casino is?
Oh, you know what? I think I had to set. That's kind of dumb. So no, we're not on Odyssey tonight because on Odyssey you have to set up. You can't do it recurring. You have to set up each time you do it, which is kind of annoying.
Oh, you can't just link it to your StreamYard and click it on StreamYard?
That's what I thought.
You know, the way you just go to StreamYard.
Yeah, I added on StreamYard, but
stupid
for
Odyssey.
some reason it's not showing up. Yeah, it's still showing last time oh well, no biggie. So we're not on Odyssey. Next week we'll be on Odyssey. If I could do Kick, we're having trouble streaming to your destination. Is it possible the stream was ended? Yeah, you know what? Just remove it. Remove Odyssey from tonight's stream. We'll get her next time.
And yes, that is where Kino Casino runs. So maybe we'll.
Odyssey is kind of lame anyway. It is, but you know what? It's hooked up to the LBRY crypto exchange, so you could always donate to my cryptocurrency wallet on Odyssey if you were so inclined. Yeah, I could get on Kick. I don't know if StreamYard will work with Kick. I imagine it probably would.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, we tried on Rumble. Rumble's a bit of a pain, but so that's it. Just doing the regular workout, but not killing yourself each time.
No, I'm still pushing hard. Like I push hard enough that I can't fucking properly change afterwards. You know what I mean? Like,
oh wow, okay.
Like I can't get my shirt off because I can't pull my arms up over my head. So it's like fuck it. I just go home in my gym clothes.
That's what I do anyway. I don't change at the gym. But see, I don't find I work that hard. The problem is the reason I don't work that hard is because I really feel it in my joints, particularly in my golfer's elbow on this arm. Like right now, I didn't even really do arms today. I did arms yesterday. Now, of course, I was using my arms in my exercises, but I can feel the heat off of that joint because it's inflamed so bad. So yeah, it's tough. So I can't go crazy on weight, especially when it comes to like arm exercises.
What's your go-to medicine for general pain and headaches and stuff?
Typically, I go with an Advil, but I don't want to take NSAIDs because that can impact your ability to build muscle, right? Because you kind of need some inflammation in your muscles in order for the stimulation to be there for the recovery, right? So
still eat more cucumber. That's all.
Okay.
Natural anti-inflammatory, good for arthritis and joint issues and stuff.
It puts lead in your pencil, as they say.
I don't. Probably not.
I've always heard cucumber was a bit of a fertility vegetable. Yes, it's supposed to help.
If you've never had beets and you juice a beet and you drink a juiced beet, you will have a raging hard-on for like hours. It'll be painful.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's funny. Beet juice gives you a boner. Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's move on from Do You Even Lift, Bro? We've beat this topic to death, I think. Let's move right on to the main event. Bring it on. So if you haven't been living under a rock, you obviously know that 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, in a precedent-setting court case, was found guilty of 34 felony counts of mishandling or mislabeling financial records. Is that right? Which is a misdemeanor, but was upgraded to a felony
It's sort of right, but it's also wrong. Like 34 counts of felony. What? No, it's one count 34 times.
okay.
these people. What? Like,
34 instances of
and
the
they found him.
okay, the 34 times, was it the same record just in 34 different pieces of documentation?
No. It's a structured payment that went out over time. So
Oh, okay.
imagine you're accidentally paying the wrong bill for 34 months, and they go, "Well, that's 34 individual crimes." What?
Yeah.
Now, the best part is Donald Trump did not directly do this. The lawyer who testified against him was the one who structured the payment and made those payments that way
Exactly. And
while stealing from Donald Trump.
exactly. He stole money from Donald Trump. He applied for a home equity line of credit in order to pay Stormy Daniels. He paid it out of his own shit. And his reasoning was, well, I didn't want him to come back to Trump. Did Trump direct you to do that? No. Costello, his lawyer said no. He was advised by Michael Cohen that no, Trump didn't know anything about that. Trump didn't direct him to use his own personal funds to do it. The guy's a convicted perjurer. He's lied to Congress. You can't trust a word he says. Anyway,
and to testify against Donald Trump in this case, he had to admit to multiple crimes, more crimes than Donald Trump was alleged to have commit in this trial.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And so we went out to dinner. My father's birthday was on Thursday. We went out to dinner with him. Went to the keg. Him and his girlfriend. My dad has a girlfriend. My mom died like a year ago. Dad's got a girlfriend. I don't know how to feel about that, but anyway, it is what it is. And he said, because he knows I like Trump, and he doesn't like Trump. I don't think he's got TDS or anything. He's just not very politically savvy or interested. Just he was found guilty on 34 counts. I'm like, yeah, 34 counts of what, Dad? You know what? And I'm like, no, you tell me. What was he found guilty of? See, you don't fucking know because all you're catching sound bites on CNN or CBC. And I said, Dad, it was a bullshit trial with a bullshit judge and a bullshit jury. He was found guilty. I'm like, yeah, it was all bullshit. And my hope is it will be overturned, but who knows? I think he might have to go before some federal appeals court in order to have it happen. Maybe the Supreme Court in order to have it happen. Now we're still waiting to find out if the Supreme Court even says a former president can be convicted of a crime or can be charged with a crime for things he did while president without being impeached first. We still haven't heard that yet. But in any event, it's all appeal is easy. Squid Cody says, let's go. Yes, it will be. Appeal is easy. Yeah, that's the thing. Now, Merchan, the judge, who is completely corrupt and should have recused himself because his daughters been raising money off of this trial for Democrats. So he has a conflict of interest. He's decided to put the sentencing for July 11th, which I guess places it just before the Republican National Committee or Convention, I should say.
Yeah.
Just so he'll basically miss it. Because, and people say, oh, he won't go to jail. He'll get house arrest or he'll get probation. No. I'm thinking, no, at this point, they're going to throw the fucking book at him.
They're going to try, but
they're going to try and put him in.
If the verdict is in now, though, without the sentencing laid down, he could probably start the appeals process. No, I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know what the rules are, but they want to put him in prison. I guarantee you they want to put him in prison. The idea that they went so heavy-handed on this trial, in this case, and these other cases that have been brought against them, all on bullshit nonsense. The idea that they went so heavy-handed and now all of a sudden they're just going to pay kid gloves with the sentencing. No, they're trying to put him in prison. They want to make him be have to campaign from behind bars. I guarantee you. Squid Coyote says, nah, anything they do to him. Well, this is the thing. It's only making him stronger. Like so polls came out. Their his approval before the charges were before he was even in jail, before he was even in court, was like 46%. And now, since he's been found guilty of these counts, it's 46%. His popularity hasn't even changed.
So that was actually the day of, since he's received a 6-point bump in polling and $35 million in new donations.
I heard $52 million in donations.
Oh, okay. My information is about 10 hours old now.
I heard he received in 2 days $52 million in donations. And did you hear what? Oh, you got something to share. What do we got here? Red-headed libertarian. Giving him a record just makes him even more metal, you stupid fucking commies. So true. Did you hear what Andrew Tate said on Twitter?
You had mentioned, yeah. What did he say?
I wish. See if I can find it. I'm not going to go bother searching for it. But he essentially said, he said, I just donated 100,000 K or 100K to my nigga Donald Trump, but I think he used a hard R.
Oh yeah, no. Donate to Trump, beat out boobs on a Google search for a couple of days.
That's so funny. Is that true?
Yes.
That's hilarious. Trump is more popular than boobies.
And what's really cool about the graph is you see Donald Trump donate to Trump go up, but you actually see boobs go down for a short period. So people stopped Googling boobs. They could donate to Trump and then go back to boobs.
It's like you're rubbing one out, and then you hear the verdict like, what? God damn it. Stop.
You got to do something about this.
Donate to the MAGA fucking campaign. All right, where are those boobs at? And you go back to it. That's fucking hilarious. Oh, did you see the Biden reaction to Trump? He was asked if Donald Trump should be now that he's a felon, should he be disbarred from running or whatever, right? And Biden's leaving his presser, and he just turns and he has this most evil fucking smirk, and it's like I'm seeing it. I'm like, God, I'm looking at you right now, and I'm thinking Justin Trudeau, because I want to do the exact same thing to you that I want to do to Justin Trudeau when he fucking smirks. Yeah. Yeah, Biden is, here's the thing. I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here. I watched Felix Rex's most recent video today. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you watch it.
Yeah, I saw he did one, but I was prepping.
Yeah, it's about a 12 minute video. But anyway, they don't care anymore. The political elite, they are corrupt. They know they're corrupt. They know we know that they're corrupt, and they just don't fucking care. My thinking is they're seeing it all collapse around them. They've been involved in the collapse. They've been key movers in the collapse of Western civilization. They know it's happening. They know it's inevitable, and they don't give a fuck how miserable they make the people that they're supposed to be governing feel. They don't give a fuck how badly things are going to crash. They don't give a fuck how much violence there's going to be. They don't give a fuck how many people are going to be thrown out of their homes, because they know they're getting theirs. They're going to be rich, and it doesn't matter to them what happens to you. And that's why they're just blatantly embracing their corruption. And they're like, yep, we're ripping you off, and we don't fucking care that you know. And this whole thing with Donald Trump in, being found guilty, the corrupt judge, the corrupt prosecutor hired by George Soros, all of it is blatantly out in the open, and they don't fucking care, because they know that roughly 50% of the population isn't even paying attention, and all they hear are the headlines. And they'll hear, oh, he's found guilty on 34 counts. What a bad guy. They won't even think about why it might have happened. They don't care, because they're too busy making another TikTok dance video, or watching the next fucking Netflix series, or who's playing in college basketball this weekend. That's all they give a shit about. So yeah, the elites, they're just wearing it on their sleeve. They've reached Hunger Games levels of arrogance and corruption, and it's like I don't understand why. Like they must be stupid. I mean, they're in public service in that sense, so they're obviously stupid, but they don't understand. Like, you understand that tyranny always ends badly for you fuckers. Like, you could be as tyrannical as you want. You can try and make yourself as rich as you like. You can rip people off. You can fucking ruin them. But at the end of the day, the people outnumber you, and eventually they're going to put your fucking heads on pikes. It's going to happen. So, getting in while the getting's good, okay, that's kind of short-sighted though. But that's just my thought. Anyway, we got a few more comments. I can't even say he knew what he was doing. Well, I think he knows what he's doing. He's not that oblivious. I think he knows how fucking scummy he is. He just doesn't care. Man, how the fuck did socialism fail every time? We need to try harder. No, you know what? And here's the thing, Squid and Ajax, and everybody else. This isn't even about them being ideologically true. They just want to be rich, and this is the same thing that the socialism and Marxism are predicated on. People who don't have power, the ugly, fat, useless people, are angry that the successful, motivated, and beautiful people are doing well, and they resent everybody for it. So they engage in the politics of resentment so they can get theirs. And along the way, they ruin the lives of everybody underneath them. So my friends often say to me, yeah, okay, so they might want to try and make 15-minute cities. Yeah, they might want to make everybody eat bugs. Yeah, they might want to put everybody in pods and blah, 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 take away your privacy, take away private ownership. But they won't succeed. No one will let that happen. Let's assume
you're letting it happen now.
They're making it happen now. And it's not like it'll be happening overnight. It'll be happening piecemeal. But let's say they can't make it happen. They're going to try. They're going to give it the college try. And in trying to do it, they're going to ruin everybody's fucking life. And let's say, for instance, they succeeded everything they want. People won't stand for it forever. And eventually they're going to rise up. And eventually they're going to put their fucking heads on bikes. And nobody's going to be happy with that outcome because nobody wants to be involved in engaging in that kind of murder. Nobody wants to die for their country, but ultimately they're willing to do it. They will do it, right? People will give their lives for, the ideals of freedom and individual liberty and everything else, right? So being rich and powerful mean nothing when you're headless. Well, yeah, but that's the thing. They're short-sighted. They don't realize it. They think, nah, fuck it. I'm going to be safe. I'll be a former president. I'll have Secret Service until Secret Service turns on you. I'm manager class. If we have to go there, YouTube censored Squid Cody socialism content. It's not in live chat.
Really?
Where is it?
Oh no, I see it.
I see it. Man, how the fuck did socialism fail every time? We need to try it harder.
And I see it on the actual YouTube channel as well. So
you do? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm manager class if we have to go there. What, to socialism? No, you'll be in the fucking gulag with the rest of us, Squid. You might be on top chat, Ajax. Oh, yeah.
Now, sometimes it just if you switched from top to live, it won't show you all the back stuff. It'll only show you the new stuff. Yeah. So just be aware of that. That happens from time to time.
So a long story short, I think Trump will win on appeal. I said was it me or was it Canada Man who said it? That history trends towards freedom and justice.
That very much sounds like a Canada Man.
I think that's something a Canada Man would say. And I believe that too. I think that ultimately good will prevail over evil because I think goodness, I don't know, maybe it's just like I was raised on the idea of good versus evil and good always triumphing over evil. Maybe because I have Christian intuitions.
Well, there's like a technical reason for not the guarantee that good will win, but the potential for what remains of the good to be able to at least fight back. Because let's say evil takes over 90% and 10% of that remains as good. Before the good is completely wiped out, some evil asshole will find that will be opportunistic and start trying to stab the other evil people in the back, and infighting begins.
Tetsuya
So,
Kai, welcome to the chat.
Tatsuya.
I don't know you, Tetsuya Kai, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the chat. I mean, it's not like they've tried this hundreds of times before and failed. Exactly. Yeah. Trump think is stupid, and it sets a dumb precedent. The Trump thing, I think he means the Trump thing, is stupid. It is. It is. And then somebody asked Biden if he's worried that this sets a precedent that he might be charged when he leaves office. And he kind of dismisses, like, no, I don't think that's gonna happen. The fact of the matter is, there's far more evidence for Biden being involved in criminal activity than there is of Trump being involved in criminal activity. And so Trump's crime was essentially it being written in his ledger as a legal fees, which it was ostensibly. Michael Cohen
He paid the lawyer.
Yeah, he was the lawyer. He paid the lawyer more money than the lawyer actually paid out to Stormy Daniels, because the lawyer misrepresented the amount.
But here's the other thing. This is why it's going to be one on appeal, because Merchan instructed the jurors.
Yes.
You don't even have to agree. Like, each of these individual pseudo fraud charges would on their own be a misdemeanor. But if they're tied to the commission of a felony, they themselves become felonies.
But they weren't tied to the commission of a felony.
Well, hold on. He says, you, the jurors, don't have to agree on which of these three potential felonies. You just have to believe that he committed any one of them, and then these all become felonies. So here's the real problem, and why he wins outright on appeal, or should. Let's just break it even. 4 jurors believe he's guilty of felony A. 4 jurors believe he's guilty of felony B. 4 jurors believe he's guilty of felony C. So they all agree there was some felony.
Right.
Makes these payments each felonies. But he's not been found guilty of any of the 3 alleged felonies. So they can't be felonies. He can't be guilty of those felony charges because he wasn't charged, let alone convicted of any of the alleged 3 felonies.
Well, that's just it. And because they tried to bring this thing up in the as like basically campaign finance, because the idea, the notion is that he paid this money out to avoid it showing up during his campaign, which was a campaign financing no-no, I guess. Well, the Department of Justice, under which felonies are charged, declined to charge and said, no, there's no case here. First off, it's past the statute of limitations. That's the other thing. The whole thing is past the statute of limitations. If a crime occurred, it occurred long ago. And what somebody posted something about, so when is Bill Clinton going to go to jail for paying out Paula Jones?
Yeah.
Paula Jones got paid out like way more money, and he actually did sleep with Paula Jones and tried to hush it up, whereas Donald Trump says, no, I never fucking slept with Stormy Daniels. So anyway.
So here they're mentioning precedents that have been set. If you would share
some
this,
Republicans start calling for bringing up charges against Democrat congressmen and senators after the verdict. They set the precedent themselves. Yeah, well, that's just it. You know, that which you use shall be used against you. My old dungeon master taught us that. My old dungeon master, back when I was in college, one of the guys.
Tabletop RPGs are educational, folks.
Yeah, one of the guys I was playing was like, hey, I want to make a ranger who uses like a knockout poison, like a sedative poison. And the GM says, well, it's kind of or get dungeon masters, that's kind of an evil act. He's a good character using poison. No, but it's not a deadly poison. It's a knockout poison. And he's like, yeah, but you know what's going to happen. You're going to knock out your enemy, and then you're going to walk up and stab him in the fucking head. So what's the difference if it's a deadly poison or, at the end of the day, hit points are hit points. You're just trying to poison somebody, so it's easier to kill them. Anyway, no, he tried to play this off. No, I want to use it so that we can poison somebody, knock them out, wake them up and interrogate them, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, at the end of the day, he says, yeah, you know what? I'll let you do it. But just know this, that which you use shall be used against you. And so the guy thought about it. He's like, oh, fuck, I don't want that to happen to my character. So he's like, maybe I won't use the poison. It's true. Actual USA precedent. They, in fact, do have to be unanimous. Yes, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to say it didn't have to be unanimous. When Clinton said he did not have sexual relations with that woman, he met Hillary. Yeah. Well, Hillary's not a woman anyway. I'm not saying she's a man. I'm saying she's a demon. She's the devil. She's the devil.
Here's a great thing I stole from Twitter. If you want to share this for me, please.
Oh, sure. Yes.
These are precedents set by President Trump. Presidents and former presidents can be impeached. Presidents and former presidents can be forced to reveal tax and business records. Presidents and former presidents lose executive privilege. Presidents and former presidents lose attorney-client privilege. Presidents and former presidents can be forced to release private phone records and text messages. Presidents and former presidents can have their homes raided by the FBI. Presidents and former presidents can be subpoenaed in bipartisan committees. Presidents and former presidents can be repeatedly indicted and arrested. Presidents and former presidents lose their First Amendment right to free speech. Presidents and former presidents lose the right to a jury trial. VP no longer has authority to question validity of disputed electoral votes. The losing party no longer has authority to submit contingent electors when results are disputed. Presidents and former presidents don't have presidential immunity.
Checkmate. I mean, you know what? It could have been part of the 4D chess, right? Everybody talks about Trump playing 4D chess. What better way to destroy the federal government and make the office of the president more impotent than by becoming a martyr, by sacrificing yourself on the political altar like that? That's pretty good.
They've
think about it.
Just demonstrated the entire system that they've corrupted is a sham. The whole of it. Yep.
If you watch that Black Pigeon Speaks video, I don't know if it's under his Felix Rex or Black Pigeon Speaks. Doesn't matter. Anyway, if you watch that video, he essentially says, this is actually a white pill. People talk about there being a civil war, civil conflict, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen is the federal government's going to become much less involved in people's lives, and people are going to basically be able to choose where they want to live and live under the kind of rule system that any state might offer. So, for instance, like people made an exodus out of places like California and went to Texas. They left places like New York and New Jersey and they went to Florida during COVID. Why? Because these places advertised, hey, we're the free states. Come here if you want to be free. So people who want to live under freedom, they're going to go to the places where freedom is enshrined. And people who want to live under, constant government surveillance and being reliant on government for food and shelter, hey, they can live in New York and New Jersey and fucking California and wherever they want to be. So it's not going to be like a north versus south, east versus west. It's going to be urban versus rural, and it's going to be liberty-minded versus top-down government. And the federal government's going to become much, much less relevant. That's his whole white pill. So the federal government's going to become much less relevant in the United States, and people are just going to go and live their lives they want to live. People don't want to just take up arms against people because they disagree with them. People will go and live where they want to live and try and live the lives they want to live without being, molested by their government. And they'll go to the places where that'll happen. So, got a couple comments, looks like. One from Tatsuya Kai. Tatsuya Kai. What character is that? From what anime? I'd say the most likely first step of civil war is Aries will just start ignoring federal law. Texas has already kind of done that with the border. Yeah, exactly. Florida's done that too. Yeah, you're right. What anime character is that?
No idea.
I like me an anime now and again. Anyway.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Have we beaten this topic to death yet? It's more you want to say about it?
I don't know about say, but I do have a couple of fun memes I could share.
Oh, let's see them.
Yeah, like Oh my God, he's a convicted felon. You can't support a convicted felon. Oh, why would you support a convicted felon? Oh, you got to click the share.
How dare you support a convicted felon? Every Democrat voter, also Democrats. Yeah, fucking George Floyd. So true.
And fuck, so there's also the stories of the once and future king that. Oh no, this is great. Here, if I can find the fucking share button. Yeah, like just all the crime and all the corruption is just
Steve anime Gavin
so.
McGinnis's.
Gavin McGinnis.
Cocaine was found
Cocaine
at
was found
Biden's
in
house. A
Biden's
dead
house.
body was found at Obama's house. A male prostitute was found at Pelosi's house. An illegal server was found at Clinton's house. So the FBI raided Trump's house. Yeah, it's so true. So true. For what? For records that he had every right to have. Yeah.
And there's like, oh no, you're supposed to keep sharing.
Oh, sorry.
There's the conspiracy theories about Baron Trump and the time travel, and this that also there's rumors that he is in fact like a ridiculously smart man.
Baron?
Right? Yes. That like he's like 140 plus IQ. He's
This is
killing it.
when I hear all these rumors that he's like some phenom. Yeah. I know
And
he's like
he's
like almost 7 feet tall, but
yeah, he's like 6'8", 6'9". He dwarfs his dad when you see them standing next to each other. And
Yeah,
Donald
yeah.
Trump is like 6'3", right?
Yeah.
And he's starting to look like a fucking like look at his hair, look at his profile.
Can you imagine his rage right now for what they did to his father? He saw it. He saw it all. I pray the world can handle his wrath.
Because
yeah, you know what? He looks like his dad too. Hey, that's so funny. Slightly different nose. Slightly different nose, but man, does he look a lot like his dad.
But he's enormous. He's a genius. If he starts filling out and becoming muscular, it's like, oh my God. He's going to create from himself the gene seed of the Primarchs. This is the future God Emperor.
Oh my God,
right?
You're right.
40,000 years from now, right? They'll tell the legend of the man whose father was betrayed by the system, so he overtook it and reshaped it in his own image. Like
that's it. Oh, you know what? Maybe he is a time traveler, and he's actually, because he's fucking gigantic, he's actually Anunnaki. He was there at the Younger Dryas and everything. All right. The George Floyd Bureau getting struck by lightning was great, though. Yeah, it kind of like, it lets you know that either one of two things is true, maybe both. God is real and he hates false martyrs, or we're living in a simulation and the people who run it have a really good sense of humor. For God's sake, Washington, D.C. re-elected a convicted crackhead felon to mayor's office after being removed from office. These people are the biggest hypocrites in the world. Well, that's just it, right? When people say, yeah, the system's broken, this is why I can't understand the normies who are like, well, you got to do what the government tells you to do. Like, no, you fucking don't. As a matter of fact, you're a patriot if you don't at this point. You're a patriot if you say, go fuck you. Yeah. No, it's crazy. Any more memes to share there?
No, but this sort of transfers pretty well into an oddity. I've discussed it a little bit before.
Oh, you want to move on? You want to move on to Irving's oddities? Let's do that.
Just for a quick sec.
Yeah, we can come back to the other stuff. That's fine. Irving's oddities. Take it away.
So, the 4 chaos gods of Warhammer, right? Yes. And they're the same chaos gods in all incarnations of Warhammer. Now, if you're familiar at all with the lore, you understand that Warhammer 40K is actually not the future of the Warhammer fantasy world. It's 2 separate worlds, 2 different universes connected by the warp. And in Warhammer fantasy, access to the warp is necessary for magic, right? It's the warp bleeding into the world that allows people to use magic and create magic spells. Access to the warp in 40K is necessary for faster than light travel. They're actually skipping across the warp to get from place to place through space, right?
Yep.
Our universe is a universe connected to those universes by the warp, except our warp is expressed via the internet. Access to the warp is necessary for internet connection, and we thrive on this access to the warp, but at the cost of the chaos god, the same 4 chaos gods. That's the only thing that ties all this together. Those 4 chaos gods seem to be real, right? And where Warhammer 40K has the God Emperor, the machine god, right? The machine man god. Fantasy has Sigmar. Right. Our universe has Jesus and Donald Trump.
So what you're saying is that my idea of making an ARG based on Warhammer 40K is probably a bad idea.
A little dangerous is all.
Oh, we were talking about ARGs before the stream started. Because last week I was playing this game called Clued Up, which is basically an ARG scavenger hunt mystery game. And I was saying, it would be cool if there was like a spy-based assassination ARG game where you would go up against different people and you would walk around on the street and you'd like assassinate them with your phone by taking a picture of them and then like tapping a button a bunch of times or whatever. And then I thought, no, it'd be cool if it was like Call of Cthulhu, where you would be like investigators trying to stop cultists. So we have 2 factions, cultists and investigators. And the cultists are trying to summon elder gods, and the investigators are trying to stop them from summoning the elder gods or send the elder gods back using their phone and the ARG, right? And then Twin's like, oh man, I think you're straying too close to the warp. So maybe we should just like fucking go both feet, jump in with both feet. We'll make an ARG, phone-based ARG like Pokemon Go, where you're an inquisitor and you have to go and hunt down people who are either mutants or Xenos or heretics.
Suffer not the Xeno to live.
That's right. There we go. We got a couple of comments here. Oh, we seen that one. Greater Ajax, I mean, they also elected a mass murderer to the presidency with the Clintons. Is this really surprising? So true. That's dangerously close to blasphemy.
Close, but no cigar.
Yeah, exactly. Close. Just saw Godzilla -1. It is really good. Superb. Yeah, I hear it's quite good. I'm not a big fan of the Godzilla stuff, but apparently Godzilla -1 is quite good.
This is the cartoon, right?
No, this is the Korean or Japanese live action.
Oh, really? Okay.
On the people. It focuses. I think it's supposed to be like the very first appearance of Godzilla. It's supposed to be set in that time, and it's the people who are surrounding the events associated with Godzilla. So Godzilla plays into it, obviously, but it's more about the people who have to deal with the fallout associated with Godzilla's appearance. Hey, Pox and Ajax. Hey, Six. Yeah, no, I think that's kind of interesting. Your theory about the universe is interesting.
Well, you know, there's a multiverse, and I mean, Terrence Howard is. I don't know if you saw or heard about that Joe Rogan appearance with. Is that his name, Terrence Howard?
Oh my God! Fucking 1 × 1 is 2.
That okay? Look, is he some kind of super genius, or is he a fucking schizo?
He's a retarded.
Why not both? He's a schizo super genius.
It doesn't make sense, though.
There's a lot of stuff that he touched on that, yes, is like kind of often ignored or dismissed by modern science. And he's looking like, okay, so, and now I'm going to do exactly what he did. I'm going to be all over the place. He wrote a book and yet could not stay in a straight line and explain step A, step B. A part 1 connects to B this way. B2 now moves us to C. He was just bouncing around like a wild man, right?
Right.
If he had started with
consciousness kind of stuff.
If he had just started with the entirety of existence is music, and then explained that whole like the periodic table of the elements is like a scale on the piano, that you're hitting the same note at a different resonance, a higher frequency. Oh, that would make more sense, but he didn't do that. And the thing is, that's all true. All that stuff. But modern science doesn't really care that much about it. I don't know. And it might be because it's non-functional. It doesn't really help.
Yeah.
But it is very interesting that everything does work out that way with those waveforms.
I remember studying when I studied in college. Now, this is a long time ago, and I did a lot of drugs. I remember studying college. I was studying radio engineering, basically audio science, audio for media art. And the guy the guy who taught our audio class was really brilliant. But he talked about the different harmonic frequencies, and he said it all lines up very well mathematically, except for one frequency. It doesn't match up. I think it's the seventh. The seventh frequency doesn't. The seventh harmonic, sorry, doesn't.
Mhm.
It fucks up the math. Otherwise, it would be perfect, except for the seventh harmonic. It doesn't fit mathematically. It doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. So, if what you're saying is that Terrence Howard found a way to make the seventh harmonic fit into a mathematical model, well, then I'm kind of intrigued. But all I heard was 1 times 1 equals 2, and I'm like, that's horseshit.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
that that part is fucked up, and I'm just gonna ignore that. All right, but no. Basically, we have this set of harmonics, except the seventh one doesn't fit, so pretend we're okay and just keep going forward. No. There's something wrong with your whole model. And he says, here's a new model that doesn't force the seventh harmonic to fit. It tells you everything that you thought of your model actually is off by a little bit, and here's how it really works. They go, no, but the first 6 are good. Okay, well, all 7 of mine are good.
Right.
If you think that this is correct. Like, he was showing that animation with the bubbles and the negative space between bubbles. Do you remember?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. They're like,
I only heard snippets of what he said.
he starts showing this thing about how, like, when you put bubbles together, there's a negative space between them, right? Like, if you crammed 3 or 4 bubbles together, there'd be a non-Euclidean triangle,
Right.
in like where the bubbles can't touch.
Right.
And then he starts putting more bubbles together, but the program is showing you the space between and filling that in rather than outlining the bubbles.
Yeah.
And the more bubbles he put, the more shapes from nature you start to see, because nature abhors a straight line. This is
right.
an axiom from, like studying biology and physics and stuff.
Well, Buckminster Fuller talked about that. His whole thing was, well, I can't imagine watching all the waves crash on the beach. That the universe is calculating for every one of those perfectly round bubbles. The universe is calculating pi to how many places in order to build those bubbles. So his idea was, no, but like spheres are made of triangles, and those triangles make pentagrams and hexagons, pentagons and hexagons, and by that you can build yourself a sphere, and that's how it works. And so he's like, the universe isn't making spheres; it's making triangles, and those triangles are building spheres.
But it's not making triangles; it's making non-Euclidean triangles, right? Because you look at the circle, and then you cut a line through it, and you do some math, and it's like, oh my god, I have a non-terminating decimal. Right. Forever, 3.141592654, blah 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 blah, forever. Yeah. The problem is the straight line you put through it, not the circle.
Yeah.
Right. It's not that, trying to divide 7 by 22 gives you or 22 by 7 gives you this fucked up number. No, straight lines aren't real. Like, if there's ever been a social construct, it's a straight fucking line. But all of these different non-Euclidean triangles getting stacked with the different amounts of bubbles and different configurations, shit starts to look like bugs and leaves.
Yeah.
Right? So he's fucking onto something. He's just too fucking schizo to explain it.
Well, that's just it. It's interesting. And it comes back to what I was saying about, the universe is much stranger than either the materialists or one particular believer in a specific religion can explain. You might have a religious belief that helps you navigate the universe in your life, which is great, good on you, but it can't explain everything. And I don't think it's meant to be explained. I don't think anything can be explained by anything. I don't think there's even the need or the point in having an explanation of things. I don't think we need to know. I think part of the wonder of the universe is the mystery of it. But anyway, let's get off oddities because it's too heady and I haven't taken any drugs.
Yeah, I got to finish watching that Terrence Howard thing because, it is fucked up. It is so, like, it's weird. It's hard to watch. That's all I'm going to say. It's hard to watch and probably worth it.
Yeah.
At your own risk, audience. At your own risk.
All right, folks. It's time for.
Why do you say you feel trapped in a man's body?
Well, sometimes I get the menstrual cramps real hard.
Time for True News, everybody. If you haven't been on Twitter or X today, you might not be aware that June 1st, that's tomorrow. Is that tomorrow or today? No, it's today. Today is the start of Pride season. They're not even calling it Pride Month or Pride Day. They're calling Pride season.
Pride Month is fucking gay.
Speaking of which, I want to share this. The Liberal Party of Canada, always looking to be the most progressive amongst us, shared their new profile pic today.
You ever notice these fucking Liberal Party assholes will wave every flag but the Canadian one?
Yeah, go figure, huh? That's something. So yeah, they posted new profile pic, to which I responded with gay. And here's the thing, like, it used to just be Pride just used to be about gay people, and their symbol was the rainbow that they co-opted from Christian tradition. Christian tradition held the rainbow as God's covenant with man, that he will never cause another cataclysm like the Great Flood.
Point of order. They also altered that rainbow to remove one color, so theirs is 6 instead of 7 stripes, and the color they removed is the one that represents divinity.
What was that?
Indigo.
Wasn't that indigo up there at the top?
That's purple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In any event, not only that, they changed the flag to include black and brown people because, being brown or being black is equivalent to being gay. I don't know how the brown and black people feel about that. They also included the pink and blue, light blue colors and white, I think, is part of that, to honor transgender, which is really pedophilia. So this whole thing is satanic, and is it's extolling the virtue of Zinch, and who else? Nurgle? Slanesh. And since they're all fat, I'd say Nurgle too.
Nurgle, because there's this huge fucking HIV positive thing.
Oh yeah,
and
HIV positive positivity.
Fuck, bug chasers, man.
Bug chasers that revere those who have AIDS. Yeah, and then of course there's the Antifa, the people who rage over trans rights and gay rights and everything else, and they'll split your head open with a bike lock, just for being. Yeah, that's their Cornites, absolutely. Yeah, Troons, man, Troons, gotta love them Troons. Happy Troon month.
Only bigots don't want to get paused, says Pox.
All I know is one of those colors is literally for pedophiles. Yeah, I think the pink and blue are, but they've hid it and said it's no, it's for trans people. But then of course all the trans activists are the ones who are trying to fuck up children. So yeah, they're pedos. All I know, only bigots don't want to get paused. Why don't you want to have sex? If you don't have sex with this this AIDS-ridden homosexual who's trans, then you're a bigot. So, Twin.
Now with bonus holes.
Twin. There's a person who was once a guy. Now thinks they're a girl. And while he was a guy, he was having sex with other guys and got AIDS. And now thinks he's a girl, so he has another hole installed, and wants you to go out on a date with you. And if you don't go on a date with this person, you're a bigot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How dare you? How dare you discriminate? Bloody hell, man. Anything else in true news that you want to share?
I'm glad I got to be the meme. Oh, maybe there was something. Oh, just about like, did you see Billboard Chris and Avi Yemeni on the street in was it Melbourne, I think?
I think I saw a clip of it.
Some of the highlights there, yeah.
Let me see if I can
And
find
they're
it.
some really poorly informed person thinking that they're on the side of children by saying, yes, we have to give children the hormones, and protecting them from the fucking, chemical castration and surgical mutilation is bullying, actually.
Yeah.
And not understand and there was this one girl, they were actually getting along, at least not angry at each other, but she was adamantly pro trans and pro trans children and shit, and saying some really weird stuff. And one of them, like, she just opened up and said, oh, there are no irreversible effects of puberty blockers. And I was just like, oh my God. And then she wouldn't let them explain. She just kept interrupting when they were trying to tell her that it's like, that's absolutely not the case. Like, the data is in because they have ruined so many children now. But before that data was in, anyone who's ever dealt with growing things knows. Of course, interrupting the growth process has irreversible effects.
Yeah.
You cannot do this.
But
Right.
wait, I thought the liberals were, we're all based on science, right? And it's us, conservatives are all just backwards, mouth dragging Christian, superstitious people.
They like to say they're based on science because they love their quote unquote theory.
Yeah.
But their theory is not put to empirical test.
No.
And the models they generate are not put to empirical test. So when you say, well, this came out of a university, but it hasn't been tested, so I don't trust it. Well, You're just anti-science. Why? But they don't actually know what that means. They don't understand that science is a methodology, not a collection of information.
No.
Right.
Yeah, there's such a thing as science worship. And atheists are terrible for this. I know from experience, where they don't just accept that science is a system. They think that science is the system, and they think that science is the way in which you can unravel any mystery in the universe. And anybody who doesn't use science to try and come to an understanding about the universe they live in, well, they're just a backward, superstitious idiot.
No, but like that's also the thing, is anybody who doesn't have a degree in science and yet is using trial and error experimentation process is in fact engaging in the scientific method, as long as you're accepting the results of your experiment. Right.
Yeah.
And
Tatsuya
people
Kai,
have been doing this.
Tatsuya Kai says, well, I mean, if we're being honest, the tranny issues taking care of themselves. They can't have kids. And well, we all know about the other number that YouTube would censor me for. Well, it's not that. It's just that how many kids are they going to corrupt and ruin in their efforts? You know what I mean? That's my concern. I don't have any kids myself, but I got nephews and I got nieces, and I don't want them getting all fucked up in the head because some activist decided to come to the school and give a speech one time and confuse these kids. So
every once in a while, I think about that group of what is it called when you've stopped being trans?
Detransition.
Detransition. That the detransitioners at 17 years old girls are in a support group, and they're asking, so how long will it take for my breasts to grow back now that I'm off the hormones? They had double mastectomies. They gave them top surgery.
Yeah.
And it's like, they didn't tell them anything. Like, the concept of informed consent is just thrown away, because to a man with a hammer, everything is a nail. So when you come in and say, I don't feel so good, well, I happen to be a tranny doctor, so chopping your tits off is going to be the right. That's what I do. I chop tits off and people feel good about it. So
that's right.
Like,
let's cherish Billboard Chris's thing here. Sex change drugs are big business. That's why they're pushing. Absolutely, yeah. There's money.
You make a lifetime This thing is like, oh, you have 54 seconds. Good. There's like a 20-minute version that I watched.
In a world where men are called by he, him, and I'm not going to go along with a cultish ideology that tells us we're supposed to consider them to be the opposite sex. And that's not about hate. It's about reality.
Have you got permits to be here?
No.
That is a good question. Well, you can't be here.
Do all these pro-Hamas protesters have permits to be up there?
Well, I've been asked to tell you, if you haven't got permits, you can't be here doing this.
Well, the person who says that can come and talk to me if they want.
They're literally security.
Here's some more true news. 12-year-old girl in BC had a double mastectomy. 12-year-old girl, double mastectomy. Not because she had any issues with her breast development and she was going to die if they didn't get removed, but because 12-year-old girl was convinced that, yeah, you're a boy and you should chop your tits off, even though you don't have them yet. Absolutely criminal, satanic garbage. And there will be a reckoning. Tatsuya said, these people pushing sex change and drugs need to be faced charges for what they've done. Absolutely. It will come to a point where they will go, everybody who pushed this needs to be brought up on charges. And I can see them even like, you know how they've taken down statues of people now? I think they'll be removing portraits of, faculty and staff from medical clinics and, basically scrubbing their names from history out of, disgust and revulsion over what some of these people are doing.
Hey, what's his name there? Jordan Peterson may be wrong about quite a few things, but but he's been right about that tranny issue for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sex change, drugs are big. Yeah, we saw that one. A lot of atheists play. Yep, they do. A lot of atheists replace God with science and worship science like it's a god. Yeah, it's true. And they also push the state as their god too. So
yeah.
What's worse is a lot of these kids who actually do have gender dysphoria usually grow out of it. If you get the surgery, it's too late.
Yes.
Yeah, most kids who report gender confusion, and that's the thing. Saying you have gender confusion doesn't mean you have gender dysphoria. Gender confusion is just like you're not sure, right? You think maybe I am. Most times they're gay.
Yeah,
gay.
so
and it's why it's predominantly reported by boys, not by girls. The fact that you're seeing this huge rise of girls, so all of a sudden reporting gender confusion, that is social contagion. And that's something.
Yes, girls are more prone to social contagion than
yes, they
boys.
are. Yeah.
But I had a thought.
I said something today. Yeah, there it is. I'll share this real quick.
95+% of children grow out of it by the time they're 18 and realize they're just gay. That was part of the confusion, right?
Yeah.
That they're being taught in class about your sex ed stuff that probably starts with the diagrams at 12, 13 years old of, the inside of a uterus and what testicles are inside and all that.
Yeah.
And male and female make a baby. And they're like, well, I don't want to make a baby. Right. So, I don't want to have that in there or put that in there. And so they're fucked up about it. And then they realize, it's not a gender issue. It's that they're homosexual, which, again, maybe that is an oddity too. What do you got here?
So this is a post by someone called Chanel Pafal. Bulletin board in grade 7-8 wing of St. Mark High School in Ottawa. Transgender, a person whose gender identity does not align with the one they were assigned at birth. Here's a better definition to describe today's transgender phenomena. A person whose, let's see what they wrote. A person whose personality and interests do not align with some or many of the stereotypes associated to their sex, and who has been influenced by peers, teachers, the internet, etc., to believe this means there is something fundamentally wrong with their one and only body. And I responded with, transgender, a sufferer of social contagion.
You should have gone with transgender, a person who is boring yet craves attention.
That's right. Yeah, that's another one. You're not trans, you're boring. Yeah, no, when I heard about that 12-year-old girl getting a double mastectomy, I'm like, what the fuck is going on in the world? Anyway.
Did she even have fucking tits to chop off at 12 years old? Like,
so you're moving glands and organs that haven't even fully developed yet. So they never have a chance of developing.
Foot binding.
Yeah.
It's foot
Cranial
binding.
or cranial rings.
I knew a guy who was a big fan of cats.
Yeah.
Always had cats as pets. And he, you've had dogs and cats, and, kittens and puppies are so cute and they're so much fun.
Yeah.
And he thought to himself, man, I'd love to have a kitten that was a kitten forever. I think I've told you this story before.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
He denied his kitten all sources of calcium so that the bones would not grow, and the kitten stayed kitten-sized into adulthood. But just because they weren't getting calcium and the bones couldn't grow didn't mean that everything else wasn't growing the way it was supposed to. Right. So the brain and the eyes and the lungs and the heart and the kidneys and the liver were all growing and pressing against this stunted bone structure. And a kitten perpetually for its whole life turned out to be about 5.5 years.
That's terrible.
Instead of the 15 to 20 that house cats often live. Just like to say there's no ear, and you can't just start giving the cat at a year-old calcium and expect the bones to start growing now. It's right. Too fucking late. Growing things grow when they're growing, and to be hit with certain deficiencies will prevent that growth, and that cannot be regained. The concept of puberty blockers is foot binding for an endocrine system, and the endocrine system is integral to the growth of all other systems. You are stunting the growth, the hormonal growth, and normal pathways of an entire life that you will ruin. And I imagine a lot of these kids that have been taking their puberty blockers won't live to 40. They're going to die very, very young of what was absolutely avoidable conditions. Sorry.
Not at all. And with that, folks, since we're talking about horrible, terrible things.
Jews news. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Oh, that's so disgusting. Oh my God, that's the worst thing I ever heard in my life.
Good old Woody Allen. Time for Jews news. I don't know if you heard or not, but the United States is trying to build a pier so they can bring aid to the conflict in Israel/Gaza. And it's not going so well. Apparently it's collapsing. You can't seem to get it fucking floating. It's like a floating pier that they're trying to build. Good old Army Corps engineers. Well, here's what happens when you build an army based on diversity hires and inclusion, equity, and accountability. And what are the other ones? Diversity, inclusion, and equity. Yeah, your engineers suck. That's what happens. You can't build a fucking floating pier. Anyway. Any news? You hear any news about the Jews there, Mr. Twin?
Well, I mean, more of the same. Like, what was that going on? Oh, we're gonna have to bomb this area that Hamas is. So everyone go to Rafah. Just if you're not part of Hamas, go to Rafah. Everyone load up there. We're gonna bomb the shit out of this. Oh my God, Hamas is in Rafah. Time to bomb that.
It's true. I mean, have you seen photos out of Gaza? It's like there's nothing left, man. It's fucking gone.
Looks like Finch West in Toronto. It's terrible.
It's fucking terrible what's going on there. But, you know, I don't know.
Like all the protests going. Did you see Ayatollah? What's his name? Is it Khomeini?
Yeah.
On Twitter, cited like, "Good for you, university students."
Yeah,
Like,
you're on the right side of history, and I'm like, this is the point where the university student should be going, are we the baddies?
but this is the biggest problem that I'm having with like all these fucking protests everywhere. They are so disruptive to regular life for regular people. Like, what do you think's going to happen when you go to a university? Oh, university, do something about this conflict on the other side of the world with all of your what weapons? Are you
Yeah,
out of your fucking right? And I'm sitting there going, you guys are such assholes. I'm so mad. Stop making me side with Jews.
I have an inclination towards the Jews. I will say this.
In this conflict or in general?
In general.
See, that doesn't make any sense. That's the same as having an inclination against them. Right?
No, I'm saying if you take a look at the three big religions, right? We got Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Okay. Christianity is my favorite. I like Christianity. I like the message. Everybody gets salvation. All you have to do is believe. I love it. Okay. I dislike Judaism primarily because it's like, no, salvation and being in the presence of God belongs to one people and one people only, and it's us. It's exclusionary. But Islam's about murder and killing and having sex with children. So that's if I have to say, okay, I'm team Christian, but if I have to pick like a, you know, who gets to make it to the playoffs, I guess I'd say the Jews are better than the Muslims. They're not as good as the Christians, but they're better than the Muslims. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess, but you know,
or
like
they could both be Satanists. Who knows?
Well, look, okay. Pox accused me of getting this close to blasphemy, close but no cigar. I would put it this way. There's Jesus, right? And then there is not Jesus and anti-Jesus.
I just see the situation where there's two monkeys I don't like.
Yeah, like that's, you know, okay.
I understand what you're saying. Yes.
You talked about like three big religions, and it's like, hold on, because I don't think that it's fair to lump them together.
No,
right?
I'm just saying they're the dominant worldviews from a religious standpoint.
Well, there's Buddhists and Hindus, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty like a billion Hindus,
yeah, okay.
right?
Hindu's pretty big just purely by numbers. But I'm thinking like when I think of Judeo-Christian or the Abrahamic tradition, that's what they're generally lumped into together. And I'm also thinking culturally, what have I been exposed to? I don't know a lot of Hindus. I don't know a lot of Buddhists, but I do know Muslims. I know Jews, and I know Christians. And being an atheist, I have no skin in this game. I mean, I know you say I do, but I don't even subscribe to any one of them. But I know. I don't subscribe to any one of them. But if I had to pick, my first draft pick is Christianity, and then Judaism, and then Islam. Actually, Islam wouldn't even be in the running. I'd be like, I hope Islam loses, is what it comes down to.
Can you highlight Tatsuya Kai's last thing there? Okay, this is important. Just keep this concept in mind. Buddhism doesn't really have a view of God. It's more close to a philosophy.
Right.
So, in my opinion, as a Christian man, you can break all the world religions down into three groups. Christian, not Christian, and anti-Christian. And not Christian religions are okay, in my opinion, because they don't like pull you away from the concepts that we see as like modern Western values that are deeply rooted in Christian tradition, right? So you can have that religion like Buddhism and to some degree even Hinduism and still actually engage in all the
Judeo-Christian.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
Because Judeo is actually part of the anti-Christian, right? So the not Christian, like Buddhism,
Or the
Hindu,
Donald
maybe
moment.
others.
I'm not sure what he's referring to there.
I don't know that one either, but he'll elaborate. There are religions that don't force you away from Christ and Christian values, but there are religions that do.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, the things that Christ tried to offer us and invites us to join. No, don't do that. Fuck you. Fuck Christ. And Judaism is among that, right? According to the Talmud, my Lord and Savior is in hell being boiled in feces, right?
Ew, that's nasty.
Yes, right. That there's so much weird, such a hatred for Christ that there are things that are done by Jewish people and Israelis that they altered the plus sign in mathematics
So
because it
doesn't look
looks
like a
too much
cross.
like a Christian cross.
Right. Which leads you to believe that they're kind of satanic. I think it means they're vampires because they drink
They're
blood.
anti-Christian at the least, right? Like the term kike comes from the word kaikel, which is the Yiddish word for circle, because at Ellis Island, when they were told if you can't write your name in English, if you can't sign here, just mark with an X. And they went, X? That's too close to a Christian cross. I'm putting a fucking circle because that's how much I hate Jesus. What?
Yeah, that's
Are
crazy.
you fucking like what? So there are certain groups.
So wait, so in math, then do they use an asterisk or do they use an X?
It's a straight line with an uptick on that line.
That's for
so there's
plus.
no down. Yes,
But that's for plus. But what about for multiplication?
Dot. And dot has actually become like almost standard practice for across the board.
Yeah.
But because X is also but for algebraic purposes, X is a variable, right? So the X as a multiplication symbol probably needs to, or you could just use a different variable like YZAB, but long story short, there are religions that don't force you away from Christ and Christian values, and there are religions that absolutely do. So you have Christianity, not Christianity, and anti-Christianity, and that's the thing that I think, that anti-Christian grouping. And that's why when you talk about the Abrahamic tradition, and it's like these three religions, no. One of those is a religion. The other two are anti the third one. It's yeah.
You know what? If Mr. Pox Toxic's around, I wouldn't mind having him pop in.
Oh, because one lawyer guy did too much drugs and fell into a pool and accidentally had a foursome or something.
Accidentally had a foursome. That's right. Hold on a second, Mr. Pox Toxic. I'll be right there. Let me invite you here. We will invite Mr. Pox Toxic.
He wants it on Discord, so you're gonna have to download.
Oh, I gotta open Discord. Gee whiz.
You're gonna have to download 22 updates and install them all. It's gonna be several minutes. To give you an idea of how strange Buddhism is, there are Buddhists who worship the Christian God. Buddhism doesn't really tackle gods at its core. Yeah, like it. But the thing is, what's really funny is that like Siddhartha is sort of a Jesus type figure. That's actually what I was getting at with Warhammer and the warp, and how like basically you have warp evil gods, and then you have those who resist, and they're all telling a similar story, right? So Jesus is kind of in a way synonymous with Sigmar, and Sigmar synonymous with the machine god emperor. That their whole purpose, they end up sacrificing themselves, fighting, willingly putting their lives at risk, and if necessary, dying for the cause against those chaos gods. And you can see how ridiculously true the chaos gods are in the world in which we live. Like, they proudly announce their association with these chaos gods. I'm ridiculously fat and I love it. Let's get HIV and rape children. Like, what? What?
Well, Peterson, there's a YouTube short going around, probably on TikTok too. Peterson basically calling out pride. Like, we have this thing called Pride Month. Now it's Pride season, they're calling it.
Yeah.
Pride is a sin. And why is it a sin? And oh, well, it's not supposed to be about pride. It's about finally being able to openly live without persecution. And he basically dismantles it. No, it's you claiming that you are good because of this aspect of yourself. It's you flaunting this aspect of yourself. It's sinful. And you know what? There's a meme going on about you don't deserve a flag because you like feeling a person's penis in your ass. That doesn't warrant having your own fucking flag.
I
And
hate
the
to
reason
say
it's
it.
gay is because it's gay. There are no lesbians and there are no bisexuals. You're gay. Lesbians aren't real, but gay people are. Gay men are. How's that?
So Gad Sad was on Joe Rogan recently, and he gets a pass. He's Sephardic. He's not an Ashkenazi Jew. He mentioned that English is a weird language when it comes to the word pride, because we only have one word for pride, right? We have an extreme word, hubris, but that's not necessarily the same thing. Where a lot of other languages have two words for pride. Pride is a positive and pride is a negative. So if you go out and go to the gym, and after a year, working really hard, eating right, making sure to keep your schedule, and your body has changed, and you say, wow, I feel good about this and I'm happy I did it. That's not a negative pride. That's a positive pride. You should feel good about accomplishing something. You should feel good about doing right by other people. But there's a bad pride.
I look at that as like satisfaction.
But it's pride. Like, it's satisfaction in oneself, and that's okay. It's when you go, wow, look at my body. It's so much better than yours. Fuck you for sucking. Look at me. It's being a sore winner. That's the problem with pride. That's the pride that's a sin.
Right. Well, basically coming down to thinking you're better than other people. Feeling that you're being prideful is to feel you're better than other people.
Yeah.
Right.
And
when I feel good about something I've done, like I finish a workout and I go out and I feel the nice cool evening air, and it's so satisfying. That's what I feel. I feel satisfied. Yeah. And when I look in the mirror and I see, hey, my shoulders are getting rounder. Hey, my chest has a little less flab on it. I'm like, yeah, okay, I feel satisfied. Like I feel good about the result, but I don't feel like, look at me, I'm better than you because I don't have man boobs anymore. Like that's not the same thing. I don't
like being happy with what you see in the mirror is not that. And I think, when we talk about the sin, and
welcome, Pox. I love your image there.
What's up, boys?
Hold your horses, Pox. Just let me finish this thought, please.
Yeah, go on.
When we look back at pride being a sin, I imagine in the original Aramaic and the Greek and the Latin, there was two versions, a positive and negative version, and pride, the sin, was the negative version, like we've been discussing. Now, Pox, how are you?
Pretty good, man. How you guys been?
Good.
Is that a dude's face on Eugenia Cooney?
Yeah. With
It looks like
some
it
Amy
almost looks like
Winehouse lyrics.
Charlie. It almost looks like a Moist Critical, but I don't think it is.
No, that's Ricada.
It is
Is that Nick
okay.
Rekieta?
Yeah, that's Ricada's face.
Oh my god.
There's another video. I might have to send it on Facebook to you guys. I wanted you to play me in with it, but somebody took an old Saturday Night Live skit of this dude does a rail of coke and he's doing a little happy song and dance about how awesome this day is and shit. And they used AI to put Ricada's face on it. Oh, it's chef's kiss masterpiece, man.
Oh wait, no,
hilarious.
that's Lonely Island. Great Day, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Oh fuck, that's a great tune.
Oh yeah, that was good, man. So
Hey, Lonely Island Rekieta edit.
No.
I'm sure it'll come up. It was pretty funny.
Great Day. The song is called Great Day.
Yeah, here it is.
We'll definitely get a strike for this.
Worth it.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, this is the one time I'm like, do it.
All right. 1 sec here.
Oh man.
The AI face makes it transformative, so you have a leg to stand on.
We're also talking about it, so it's critique, right? So it's fair use.
Oh, YouTube doesn't care.
Well, the algorithm doesn't know. We have to pause it periodically to talk about it. So
We're lucky there is no AI. It's not intelligent. I've been testing it.
all right, here we go. I'm gonna go full screen on it too.
Oh no, that's not it. Hold on, I got a better one. Let me send it to you.
What the fuck? Somebody spoofing
I
it
don't
so
know
they can
why,
get
but
some.
today seems like it's gonna
ad
be a
revenue.
great day. There's something in the air that makes me feel like things are gonna go my way. Day makes me feel.
Yeah, this is horseshit. This isn't even it.
Yeah, there's no. It's not. It doesn't have the whole. If they could put the face. Oh yeah, leave this. This is cool.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. Okay.
I've used that flag for the background as well. I also have one that's eagle shaped. Similar style though for that background flag.
All right, check Facebook, Craig. I sent it to you. It should be sending here in a second if it didn't go through already.
All right, let's see if I can find it here.
Oh, okay. Tatsuya Kai says, well, technically we do have a word for positive pride. It's called honor, a word we've forgotten overall. Interesting.
Good
Interesting
point.
take.
Good point.
I like that.
There you go. All right, it's sent, Craig. Check your messenger, sir.
Yeah, got it. I think this is it. 1 sec here.
As long as it isn't Rekieta jerking off again. Once was enough for me to want to gouge my eyes out.
Did I show you the picture of him snorting coke off the gun? I got that one too.
What the fuck? Like I love guns and cocaine, and I wouldn't do that.
Oh no, not gunt. The gunt.
Oh,
the gunt.
Yeah.
Never mind. And I would do it. Give me a gun, and I would do it. just to correct the universe's mistake on that one. Jesus.
Is it this video with the gavel?
Check direct messages, not the group chat. It won't let me send videos in the group chat anymore. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. Hold on. Uno momento.
Yeah, and if fair warning, I might be like snuffly and coughy, man. I've had a sinus infection for like the past 2 weeks because the weather can't decide whether it's fall or springtime yet. It's driving me crazy.
I don't know if you're dumbing it down a little bit or if your Kentucky accent just isn't that thick, but with a Kentucky accent, I can't tell the fucking difference, Bugs.
It's weird because okay, I'm so in between everything. Like I'm in the suburbs and I've got like a major city 15 minutes to my north, and then I've got the sticks pretty much 15 minutes every other direction, you know?
Right.
So it comes and goes. If I get real excited, it starts getting thicker, I think.
Well, my brother-in-law is like that, right? That he's from Newfoundland, and the Newfie accent can be almost impossible for a non-Newfie to understand. But he's lived here for so long that you can hear it in the background while he's talking. But he picks up the phone when his brother calls, and in about 30 seconds, suddenly I don't understand a fucking word he says.
Hell yeah.
I think this is it. Let me just I'll share it and you tell me if this is what you're talking about.
Yep. That's me. Yeah, and you're probably I ended up in a situation.
Bro, that AI is so good.
That was quite
such a
good.
good job.
And there's he's snorting coke off of a hairy ass.
No, that's the gun.
Is that the
sir.
gun?
That's Ethan Ralph's belly.
Oh,
Yeah, so have you guys followed the Nick Rekieta drama at all?
not terribly. I know that he got charged with was it child endangerment or something?
So
okay, here's what I know. Nick Rekieta, whatever his name is, used to be a law tuber.
Yep.
Yeah, he got really big during the Amber Heard trial and the Kyle Rittenhouse trial.
That's right.
He was actually he was one of the top numbers, man, for a live stream when he was doing, I think, Rittenhouse. And yeah, man, and it's hard to think that was only a few years ago too, because of how far he's fallen now.
Yeah, and you know, I don't follow a lot of law tubers. I follow Viva, Canadian dude.
I don't know how much he's like. Only when he has Barnes on is he really a law tuber. Most times he's just ranting about politics shit. But
Barnes, yeah. Robert Barnes.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah,
bro. He's one of the guys I was going to bring up later. We'll get to that though.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's, just quick background for the uninitiated. Law tuber, was getting big, got to the point where he was in a Netflix special about, I want to say Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Had potential to be one of the first YouTubers that actually gained a legitimate following through law discussion and stuff, right?
Right.
Pissed it all away. He started drinking heavily a few years ago. A lot of people think
drinking's not the problem.
A lot of people think it was because he started hanging out with Dick Masterson and Vito. I know you guys are aware who they are, right?
I know the names. I'm not 100%.
Sounds familiar, but yeah.
Just a couple of live streamers. At this point, I'm convinced they're pure evil. Like Dick Masterson is just pure fucking evil. But he starts doing coke, and I mean, you could just watch this dude, Rekieta. You could just watch him deteriorate over stream after stream. You could probably do a pretty good time lapse, I'd imagine, if you went through and just got still shots of every stream he's done over the last year and a half, 2 years, and you could just watch this dude turn into a fucking crack skeleton, dude. It's nuts. So people started calling him out a while back about how bad he was starting to look, and he's very clearly on drugs. And he just keeps denying it, and he does this thing because, I mean, he's a lawyer, so whenever anybody brings it up, he goes into it's like lawyer arguments about why everybody's wrong and he's right and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So he didn't really talk about his personal life, but the search warrant was released when he got arrested. And they had the pastor of his church, which he had started talking all kinds of shit about on his live streams, just shit talking his church members and making jokes about them molesting kids, including his own and shit. It was really fucking bizarre. But they had the pastor of his church, 4 members of the church, and I want to say either one of those or in a separate report, his sister-in-law all went and said, look, this dude is fucked up. He's neglecting his kids. it's really sad to read the warrant because they talk about when they show up at the house, it's just absolutely disgusting. And the 6-year-old was asking the police officer for clean clothes. The reason they got reported was because the kids were starting to show up for their little homeschooling classes or whatever it was, smelly and begging for food. And yeah, it's like really a heartbreaking situation for these kids, man. But since then, so they get arrested and they're charged with they found 25 ounces of cocaine, bro. 20, okay. Yeah, Irving knows. That's a lot of fucking coke. That's like that. Yeah, dude.
I've been Roxo levels of cocaine.
Dude, it's right, bro. I'm like, I heard this first thing I thought when I heard that. Like, I made it a point when my kids were born to kind of get out of the party scenes and stop hanging out with people that I used to run with that did all that shit, right? But as soon as I heard that, in my head, it immediately starts running numbers, and I'm like, last time I heard that probably would have been about $4,000 worth of cocaine, adjusting for inflation. That's probably like $6,000 worth of blow, dude, that he just had sitting around. On top of that, he had scales, he had ketamine, and some kind of brown shit they couldn't figure out what it was, right?
Heroin?
Well, so they also found they said it was a spent shell casing, a 22 casing. And the theory is right now, and I lean heavily into this one because me and my buddy Bati, we decided to play detective agency and we were looking up the effects of snorting saltpeter. Because see what led to that? Okay, so have you ever heard of brown?
No.
In South Africa,
okay, hold on. May I?
Yeah, knock yourself out, brother.
You open up a round. Usually, it's an AK-47 round. That's the popular weapon in Africa. And you take the gunpowder sulfur mixture and spill it into your heroin. Mix it all up real good, and take lines of that.
You can do it with cocaine too. That's typically what they give the child soldiers is a mixture of cocaine and gunpowder.
What's the gunpowder supposed to do?
So it's got nitroglycerin in it. And just if you know what nitro is, man, they use it in heart medication because it kind of it opens up your veins and your blood vessels a little bit, and so the blood moves easier through your system.
And your cocaine or heroin,
the other drugs are traveling through your bloodstream that much more quickly and more efficiently. Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of having to wait that few seconds or whatever that is for the coke to start really setting in, it's just like instantaneous, right? Yeah. So we were looking. I got a picture I can share. Hold on, let me send it to one of you guys. But we were looking up the effects. So we started looking up the effects of all these drugs that they said they found, and it's like if you look at his streams, he'd gone from looking like really, really healthy to pretty fucking emaciated and nasty. Like it basically in the Gunt picture, what he looks like in that.
No, like what you've got as your profile pic, that Eugenia Cooney thing. Is she still alive also? That's off topic, but
somehow, yeah, she is. All right. So I sent a side by side comparison to you, Craig, if you want to share that.
Yep.
And I believe this is only like 2 years apart. It's just, and so coke, it has a negative effect with like long-term use on pretty much all your organs. You lose weight, obviously, because you'll forget to eat and shit. You don't want to eat because you'll be spending your money on coke and all that shit. Ketamine can have like serious like detrimental effects to your brain function. Like it'll slow you down like a lot. Make your reaction times a little slower. Your comprehension isn't quite as good. And the gunpowder.
He looks like a completely different person.
I know, right? It's fucking terrifying, dude.
He looks like he's aged like probably 10 years in 3.
Yeah, it's bad.
he looks like his hair is on drugs. Can you highlight Tatsuya? Can you highlight Tatsuya Kai's last
sure.
comment there?
Increases violent tendencies.
No, sorry, up one.
I heard he was 140 pounds at 6'2". I'm 6'2" and I'm 230 pounds, and I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
a fat
bad.
man.
I'm 5'10", 170. That's negative. That's negative pride right there, guys. Let's compare me to Rekieta. There you go. There, yeah. Damn.
It's
You
funny
can't
you
see my
saying his
muscles.
name
My
like that.
muscles don't show up.
It's
No,
funny you
you're
keep
cut
saying
in
his
there.
name
You're
like that
big
because
boy.
That's fucked up, man. Yeah, that's really sad, especially with the kids. So how he has 2 kids or 3 kids?
he's got 5.
5 kids?
What the
5
fuck?
kids.
Who
And he and
breeds
his,
with
Bro.
this?
his wife are both on drugs, and they were involved in a threesome with some other chick. Is that right?
Aaron, well, no, they
Swingership.
were swinging. They were wife swapping with
Oh.
this couple, Aaron Imholt from the Steel Toe Morning Show, and his wife April is what it was. And then the Aaron guy bounced on it because of the drugs, is what he's saying. And him and his wife actually were getting a divorce because of the whole situation, because she apparently became a snow queen, and she left him when they split up and moved in with the Ricadas. So she was staying at the house. All 3 of them got arrested. Ricada, his wife, and this April chick.
Well, they're all involved in child neglect and child endangerment, right? So
Yeah, so that's what they got. That's what they're being charged with, is child endangerment, uh, shit tons of fucking drug felonies, because they found 3 or 4 different ones and some major weight. Obviously, 25 fucking grams cocaine.
yeah.
25
As
ounces.
much as I expect he was a user, I do need to point out that ketamine is also prescribed antidepressant. Yeah, Elon Musk is on ketamine.
That doesn't make sense to me, because ketamine is a fucking tranquilizer. It's a horse tranquilizer.
Well, it has. I think it has a psychoactive effect that's not that you wouldn't find in like normal tranquilizers and sleep aids and shit like that.
Yeah.
My mom broke her arm 4 or 5 years ago now, and when they needed to do surgery, they gave her ketamine, and she told me about the weird fucking trip she had while she was out, and they fucking set her shoulder.
Yeah, Elon Musk takes ketamine. He's prescribed ketamine, and it probably helps him like slow down, right? Because
maybe, but I mean, ketamine is a powerful psychogenic sedative. So to use it for like, what are you doing? Like 0.0001 grams?
It's probably like a
microdosing.
Yeah, it could be.
Just take fucking mushrooms like a man. Holy shit.
That's funny.
But yeah, man. So they get popped with all this shit. They go to jail, and immediately, like, everybody starts talking about it, right? Obviously, I mean that's a pretty big story. Well, he had been the day before. All right, this is where it kind of starts to get funny. The day before he got arrested, he had done a live stream where he was talking shit about the judge that's presiding over a case that he's involved in, because he's being sued by this weirdo named Montegraph. But he said he was saying all kinds of wild shit about this judge. One of the things that he said was that he went on this rambly ass drug tangent about how she squeezes liquor out of her vagina into his mouth or some bullshit. I don't even fucking know. I don't know where he was going with it.
Wow.
And this is now the judge that's presiding over his criminal case.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, he lives in rural Minnesota, bro. Like, there's probably only a handful of judges in that county. And it's just.
I hope he gets the help he needs. I hope he can, because everybody loves a comeback story. I hope he can.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, because so their hearing got leaked online when they had video court the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an option of paying like a $50,000 bond or bail, which he could bond out for, I think it's like 10%. So he would have had to have given him a few $1,000s or something, whatever. Or he could be released on his own recognizance if he took drug tests, stayed lawful, and reported, right? His wife got the same option, and that April chick got the same option. She was released way earlier in the day. And then Ricada, now this is scummy as fuck, right? He paid his own bail or bond or whatever it was, so he didn't have to report, take tests, or stay lawful, all that shit.
Right.
Made his wife take the other option, so she has to stay clean, report, and take drug tests and all that.
I wonder what caused this downward spiral. You think it might have been association with people who are bad people, or do you think there's something bad happened in his life?
I would imagine. Okay, so here's my thoughts on it. Like, people who end up falling into situations like this, they usually already have some kind of predisposition to it. And he was already a pretty heavy drinker, right? And he had talked about how he used to drink heavy in college and shit too. So I think it's a combination of him already having an addict's personality, and then meeting up with people that are reinforcing his behavior, like that Dick Masterson dude. Anytime anybody brought it up with him, it was, oh, Nick's fine, he doesn't have a problem, blah blah blah. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't see how you could say that.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, when you're an addict, you kind of want to drag other addicts down with you, right? You're like, misery.
Yeah, and Masterson has a history of, like, I mean, dude gets fucked in the ass by his girlfriend and calls himself Juju the cow and wears a cow suit. Like, this is all shit that's been confirmed through shit that he said himself. Yeah, dude.
Okay.
It's such a wild rabbit hole when you start diving into the people that are, like, orbiting this dude, that are, like, in his little circle or whatever. It's all just an insane degeneracy everywhere.
That's messed up.
You guys have to understand how terrifying this degeneration is for someone like me. I have a lot of the same character flaws as this man. And the only thing that keeps me from falling into that from falling into that hole is my own discipline, because sometimes, I can't rely on other people.
Well, from what I've seen, whenever anybody's come to you and been like, bro, you might want to, like, at the very least slow down on the bottle a little bit, you don't seem to be, like, jumping everybody's shit about it or telling us we don't know what we talk about. You actually seem like you take into consideration the concerns that other people have for you, and you understand that it's coming out of a place of love and not just being an asshole or trying to tell you what to do, right? He doesn't have
100%,
that.
100%, because Jesus doesn't like it.
Right.
While Craig is gone, let's go the Jesus route.
Hey, I'm down.
Yeah, that, like, a lot of this is like, Jesus forgives me for my flaws, but he doesn't like it, and he's not happy with me right now. I'm not even that drunk. But he's like, do you see, Irving? You could be that guy if you're not careful. And I'm like, yes, I know.
But the fact that you can even think about it like that says that you're probably on the right track, right? This dude, like, he bought into his own bullshit so much, he would make excuse after excuse, and you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm the only one that's ever right.
The bad side of pride, right? Like, I can't possibly be wrong. I'm not going to fail. I'm better than everyone and everything. And yeah, no, the drugs and the alcohol, they're not going to control me. No, I know the alcohol controls me.
You become one with the liquor.
But I have to fight it at all costs,
That's one of the worst parts, and just for him individually too, is the amount of faith that he would have had to have lost to end up in the situation. Like I said, he was straight talking shit about his pastor and his church and all this crazy shit. But like a few years ago, man, he was always talking about how much he loved his church and the community that was around it and how it was beneficial for his kids and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's amazing how far you can fall away from things that are truly important to you by making one bad choice one time, right?
I mean, it's it's something else. I think there's something worse. Like Ricada obviously doesn't have Jesus.
Not anymore.
You can't. I don't. Maybe the whole church thing was just like a lie. Like,
And that's always a possibility. I want to, when it comes to people's faith, I like to be as generous as I possibly can, given whatever the situation is, right? So, being generous, maybe he did at some point. He did have the faith and he did have, Jesus in his heart, but he replaced it with a fucking rolled up dollar bill and some powder. You know what I mean? Like, because like the dude when he was all right, he seemed like a really likable dude. Like,
yeah.
and you want to see him get back to that. Like, I think you were saying before, you were Craig. Everybody likes a comeback story, right?
See,
I
I want to believe that. I like a comeback story, but sometimes, man, you know what they love? They love to see heroes fall, man. They love that shit more, I think, than a comeback story. And
yeah, that's true. But so where was I in the whole in the story in the timeline? Yeah, so they get arrested, right? He gets out. He does the scummiest thing in the world. Takes the easy bond for himself. Makes his wife take the shitty one. And then he's out, and he immediately like he waits like a day, maybe half a day, and he gets on locals, and he starts talking about oh, this is all lies. This is all a big conspiracy, and like, dude, he starts like talking about the case without talking about the case, kind of, you know what I mean?
right.
Like, he's just spouting off angry, unhinged opinions about the whole situation without getting into details, and he keeps kind of trying to do this in Minecraft thing where he's like, this is a joke and not a legal statement, or this is an opinion, not a legal statement, in like parentheses when he's saying all this shit.
I mean, isn't Nick most famous for some sex toy? I don't know anything about that.
Oh, the Baldo. Yes, the Baldo. The Baldo. It's this horrible torture device for your testicles, where it's like a dildo on the end of like an elastic band, and you drop your balls into it, and your balls become a second pee-pee.
Ow!
Yeah. Yup. That's been the big joke. Everyone has to bow down and kiss the Baldo in LawTube.
Yeah, well, good holy Christian man. Yeah, well, you know what?
Not anymore.
Just
Could
no.
be again,
Go
but I
back.
don't
Go
know.
back to that comment for a second, because I preach Christ teachings, Christianity. I am not a good Christian man. I'm a bad Christian man, and that's why I need Christ. And I think that might be the difference. The one difference that Pox was saying, that yes, I understand my own flaws. I know their flaws, and even though I indulge and accept Christ's forgiveness, I'm ashamed of myself. Right? Like, I'm drinking too much on stream right now, and yeah, I don't claim to be a good, holy Christian man. I'm a bad Christian man, and
Well,
I
that's the thing.
want
Like,
to
if
do better,
you're
and I
going to be
need
a Christian,
Christ.
you can't be proud of your Christianity. You just say, "Look, somebody says, hey, what's your religion?" You say, "I'm a Christian," or "I try to be." Is what you say, right?
I try to be Monday to Friday.
Not Sunday, right?
Sunday's the Lord's day. That basically means that's the day that I need to fucking rest up, maybe mow the lawn.
Either die here or live long enough to become a villain. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So now they're all released. He's on locals. He's talking about all this shit. Well, LawTube, bro, these people are absolutely unhinged. All these law tuber guys,
Yep.
They've went from it's a government conspiracy to it's the police. They went from it's the pastor's fault, blaming the pastor that he had some kind of like animus against Nick because Nick was like getting up and leaving going to the bathroom in the middle of services and coming back all coked up, was doing drugs at the church, bro. That's what they say in the report anyway.
Wow.
So they're saying, oh well, this pastor just has a bone to pick with him because he was bored by his services and he was talking shit and blah blah blah.
Now, what about
Well,
Barnes? You're talking about Barnes had something to say about this.
Barnes is apparently out of his fucking mind. I haven't looked into this too much, but he went over the whole search warrant at some point and was talking about how this was all a big conspiracy and none of it is none of it. He would go over each individual claim in the search warrant and say that it's not probable cause, it's all hearsay, this, that, and the other. And but he was doing it like, well, this individual charge is hearsay and that's not grounds for a search warrant. And then he'd move on to the next one and be like, and this is blah blah blah, and he'd keep going through that.
Well,
but
he's
it's
always
like
he's always been that way though. Like that's his.
But
whole
it's
thing.
like
when he would go on trial, he would say, "Here's why this is bad law," or "Here's why this particular warrant sucks."
But the part that he leaves out is that when you're building evidence for a search warrant and you have it, if once you have so many claims from so many different people, it is a valid reason to go investigate, right? Which is why you get granted the search warrant in the first place.
Yeah, the judge has to approve it. You present all these things.
So he's trying. So he does this thing
in court
where he's baldo guarding. That's what they've been calling it, baldo guarding. And he's taking each individual thing and saying that like, oh, none of these are grounds. This isn't a grounds for a search warrant. This isn't a grounds for a search warrant. And then he's leaving out the whole thing where it's like, well, all of this is compiled into one big complaint and put together as evidence by a detective or a police officer and then taken to a judge, and the judge looks it over and says, you know what? Yeah, we should probably go look into this, which is what happened. And then when they get there, they find everything they were there to search for. It's not like they got a report of, one thing and then they showed up and then they found a bunch of drugs and then decided to hit them with that. Like, I don't even think you can do that unless it's a super serious charge anyway. Like when you have a search warrant, it's specifically what you're looking for, right?
Well, okay, so if they had a warrant to check on the welfare of the children and look for any harm, any indications of harm or neglect, that could lead you to discover, hey, there's a pile of fucking drugs here.
No,
because that's related, and say, look, this pile of drugs is within access to the children could access it, which is harmful, which is dangerous. There's a fucking 22 caliber round, which okay, it's practically a toy, but there's a 22 caliber round that is dangerous. So
well,
yeah,
it wasn't just the round. Like they found he had like an AR-15 under his bed. He claims there was a trigger lock on it, but it wasn't in like a case or anything. It was just under the bed. There was loose ammunition.
Yeah.
Open boxes of ammunition. They had found, I want to say, like a couple handguns, and maybe something else. I can't remember exactly. But it wasn't just we found this one spent shell casing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm saying that. I'm saying that all of those are like you said, like they get all these reports, and they all get put into an application for a warrant that goes before the judge. Then the judge decides, yeah, we should look into this, or no, there's not enough here. Doesn't mean they're being brought up on charges, but to get a warrant to search the place is the first step, right? So
and then on top of everything that was reported, there was a stream, and I'm sure somebody clipped it and sent it to the officer or whatever. But he did a stream where he gets up, he says he's gonna go check on his wife. He's gone for 45 minutes, and when he comes back, I shit you not, he's got fucking powder on his nose. Like he just came out of the bathroom of a fucking 80s movie, dude. I swear to God.
It's gonna be a great day.
He's got a big schnoz. Like, how do you miss that,
bro? And it's like all over the tip of his nose, dude. Like,
no, but I mean the whole thing about the search warrant and what it's for and not for. It's like, no. If there's a search warrant issued by a judge and it's for, let's say, a murder weapon, and you go into a house with that warrant for a murder weapon search, and the 25 ounces of cocaine on the living room table, that's not covered by the search warrant. Well, too fucking bad for you, right? Like,
it's still indication of a crime.
Yeah, that's
You can
major
arrest you for
major felony
crime
levels
right
of
there.
drugs.
They're
Like
still cops. They're not just cops with regards to the fucking murder weapon. They're cops all the time. So if they see, indications of another crime, they can arrest you for that, even if they're only there.
of course.
But it's just wild that would be his take. And like, so the dude, what it seems like he's trying to do is do what Rekieta did with that anime dude, Vic Marinara or whatever, is Manana, whatever, the guy who did Broly's voice in Dragon Ball. He just keeps making a stink about how it's a violation of First Amendment rights, and it's a conspiracy that the judge and the police, because Nick's talked shit about him, and the pastor's mad because Nick's talked shit about him, and it's this big grand conspiracy to try to just lock him up, so he needs to fight it all the way and shit. And it's like, bro, he just seems like he's pulling to start a GoFundMe for legal funds and get a payday out of Nick going away for 25 years, because that's what he's facing, like 26 years in prison, some shit like that.
He probably won't do that.
Probably not, because it's a first offense. I assume he's going to do at least 5 years locked up, and then he'll probably do another 5 or 10 on probation, because I know minimum sentence for one of the charges is like 3 years for the felony drug charges.
You know what he should do? He should identify as a black immigrant.
Right?
Let him out.
He should start dressing the way he's dressed in my little profile picture here. And he'll get away with it.
Insofar as in defense of Barnes, because now I don't watch a lot of Viva Fry and Barnes. They do Viva Barnes, their podcast, whatever, live stream. I don't watch a lot of it lately, but in defense of him, can you blame him for not really quite trusting our judicial system right now?
Sure,
like that yeah, I get that.
Cut and dry,
like,
my friend.
As an American, I'll tell you 100%, our justice system is corrupt as fuck. Like, and it has been for a long time. Like, nobody could deny that. But to sit there and try to say that, with all the evidence that's like, it's right there. Like, it's a situation where he's basically trying to tell you, don't believe your lying eyes.
Yeah,
you didn't see this scrawny skeleton man come back all pepped up with fucking powder on his nose 3 nights ago.
Yeah,
those 25 ounces of coke
you ain't watched him go on drunk, unhinged, unintelligible ramblings and stare at ceiling cats and demons in his corners for fucking months. Like,
how does he keep his channel going with that? I thought you can't be intoxicated on live stream and still
I'd imagine, dude. I honestly, I think it's like an unwritten thing that if you bring in dollary dues, they just kind of ignore some shit.
I think Twitch has got like a real,
no,
you got a ban hammer going for that, but YouTube doesn't care so much. But
it doesn't seem like it. But YouTube isn't, like, moderators on YouTube don't have the same power that moderators have on Twitch either. Like, a moderator on YouTube is mostly just moderating the chat, where on Twitch, I think don't you have like the ability to contact somebody and be like, hey, shut it down?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I don't know, but it just seems like YouTube is willing to overlook a lot as long as it brings in some cash. Give me 1 second. Got a dad moment.
It's all very interesting. I know that Pox is really into the YouTube drama. When he comes back, I want to pick his brain about this whole in defense of Shadow, or in praise of Shadows controversy.
Not familiar.
Okay, so there's this horror YouTuber called In Praise of Shadows, and the other day he did a video where he's basically calling out Wendigoon and conservative horror movies.
Oh, June.
He talked about Shoe Head. He talked about Oopaville. He talked about Turkey Tom Dark, and he talked about Wendigoon and a bunch of other people. Start
That dude is
talking.
a paranoid schizophrenic if I've ever seen one.
Oh, that Dane guy?
Gabe or
Zane.
whatever his name is.
Is it
In
Gabe?
Pursuit of Shadows.
Zane,
Yeah,
what's
in
his
Praise
name?
of Shadows. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a paranoid schizophrenic. He's got to be. This is the one bit in his video where he's like, he only follows a few hundred people, and after my statements or video, he followed me without sending me a message, and that says to me that he's letting me know he's watching. Like, bruh, go outside, motherfucker. Turn
Yeah.
your computer off. You're hitting a level that you shouldn't be right here.
And yeah, he went on this rant about how another horror YouTuber. So it all started with him going to some sort of like monster con or something like that, some fucking horror con somewhere.
And Kevin Spacey is again.
Kevin Spacey's there, I guess, because he's in a movie.
He was in 7. He was the villain.
Oh, right. Okay, so first from 7. So Kevin Spacey was there, and of course, Kevin Spacey is a problematic individual, and so he was giving shit to another horror YouTuber who was there, who made a video praising the event, saying it was a lot of fun, because this horror YouTuber didn't show the banner that showed Kevin Spacey was there. It's like he was trying to hide that Kevin Spacey was there, and he gave a glowing review of this Monster Con when I have problems with it. Like you're right. I think he is paranoid schizophrenic.
Bro, I'm telling you, dude.
Not only that, he's an idiot. He's saying that when guys like Wendigoon shouldn't have a platform. Not only shouldn't have a platform, they shouldn't be allowed in society.
Oh yeah, that
He's a
shit's
total
crazy.
fucking psycho.
Hey, and if you watch his shit, and I think like Turkey Tom and a couple other guys that have talked about him have pointed this out, but he does this thing where it's like, well, I try to slip in politics into all of my videos and topics that I cover, so obviously they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it's that weird thing where like I'm the center of the universe and everybody's obviously doing the same thing I am. Otherwise, what else would they be doing, right? Like,
yeah. I like Turkey Tom. I think he's funny. I also like Brandon Buckingham. Wendigoon's kind of meh. I don't mind his channel. His stuff's okay, but I don't really watch a lot of his
I
stuff.
love Wendigoon, bro. He's got Creepcast, and he's on the like the Red Thread or something with Moist Critical, which makes Moist Critical tolerable, that's a feat in and of itself. He should get an award for that.
Moist Critical. I like his short videos. I can't take too much of them, but like a little.
I just can't take that voice, the way that he talks. That he just sounds like he's either really stoned and just bored about everything. Like, I can't do that, dude. I can't. It drives me crazy.
I'm bored about everything. Kind of cadence. Yeah.
Is he fucking native?
Who? Wendigoon?
No, Moist Critical.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. If he is, he's the palest fucking redskin I've ever seen in my damn life, dude.
That just might be where that accent comes from, eh?
Oh, I'm bored about everything.
Yeah, that's the way those languages are expressed, and transfer it to English, and it just sounds like.
I don't think so. I think
he looks way too Anglo to be.
I think he's like a really pale. He's like 5'4" or 5'5" or something like that.
He's a skeleton man too.
Yeah, he's very thin, long hair, and he's got this sort of like sarcasm in everything he says. I think he's entertaining. But I like Wendigoon, but I don't always like Wendigoon's subject matter that he covers. That's probably why I don't watch a lot of his stuff. So
yeah, because he does do a lot of like ARGs and cryptids and kind of out there stuff. But like he's never, unless he's done a conspiracy video or a conspiracy deep dive, he's not really talked about politics. And even when he does, it's in a neutral way, right? Like he presents both sides and then might occasionally say, this is where I lean after looking at all the evidence, that kind of a thing. But bro is like, dude, he teaches Sunday school. He teaches Bible study to like high school and college students.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a Bible podcast, and he's never given any indication, at least publicly, that he's anything other than how he presents himself. And he's one of the few people that's like that in this kind, like the internet entertainment world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how you
genuine. He's totally genuine. And like, yeah, I mean, I appreciate what he does. It's not one of the ones that I subscribe to. I like Turkey Tom because he's kind of edgy and he's funny.
What was funny when Turkey Tom got called out by that dude, he kept saying he allegedly said the N-word, and Tom's like, why do you keep saying allegedly? And he looked it up on his own
He's like,
live
yeah, I
stream. It's
totally
like, it's
did.
right there. It's not alleged. I said it. I was playing Fortnite and got pissed.
Yes, I was playing Fortnite. I was a kid. Of course I said it. It's the fucking gamer word. Yeah, he's like this dude who's putting this, hate video out on all these people. He's basically just talking about how all these people are problematic. He's like, he makes a point of saying, as a gay man, and a liberal, he's a liberal gay man. And like,
No,
As a
I
shoulder
don't think
licker.
he's gay. Because he got mad that everybody was calling him the F slur.
that's right.
I think, and
No,
then I
he is
think,
gay. That's why he didn't like people calling him the F slur.
oh, is that
Laugh
what was
again.
really funny was that Brandon Buckingham dude called him a low T male or whatever, and he
That's
took
right.
that to be
That's
homophobic.
homophobic.
And it's like, bruh, aren't you like, so what? You think all gays have low testosterone, bruh? Like, is that
No,
what
but they
you're
might
saying?
have worms.
Oh,
Worms.
So, conspiracy theory time.
Sure.
Sure.
They went ham against the concept of mass prescribing ivermectin for COVID.
Yeah.
Because if you gave the whole population a dewormer,
Yeah.
it's gonna kill the homosexual butthole worms.
millions of homosexuals might find out they're not gay.
Yeah, that's actually a big theory that there's some kind of
What?
parasite or whatever that causes
There are
homosexuality.
a number of homosexual people who got some kind of infection that required ivermectin to help, and after being dewormed with huge doses of ivermectin, they weren't gay anymore. That homosexuality may be something like toxoplasmosis that makes people love cats and makes rats love cats, so the rats go to the cats. That if you deworm them, they might not be homosexual. That might be how the worm propagates and expands its reach, is by transferring the worm to other people through certain acts
That's
that are
hilarious.
homosexual. Yeah. So if you just dewormed a whole bunch of people, you might find, millions, maybe tens of millions of people in the Western world who thought they were homosexual may actually have had some kind of worm that was controlling their brain. This is actually very common among infections. The flu virus, it's 100% true that when you have contracted the flu virus, for the days before you show symptoms, you start feeling super social. Like you want to go out and you want to be around people and meet new, so that you can spread that flu virus. And the worm may do the same thing, but to a more drastic degree. And because humans are the only mammal that isn't regularly dewormed, like dogs and cattle and cats, we may suffer with the worm for a long time. That makes, alters our behavior in really odd ways.
Okay, so here's my question. If the goal is to reduce the human population, why aren't they weaponizing this worm? Why aren't they just basically trying to infect huge swaths of the population with it?
How do you know they haven't? Wouldn't that explain the insane increase of troons and homos over the past 10 years?
I understand
because there was an explosion in the 90s, but it wasn't this bad, and it's been steadily increasing.
Yeah, I was under the impression it was social contagion.
I'm sure that plays a part in it, obviously. I mean,
but
you are browbeat with it in the media of it being a good thing, and saying that it's not means you're an evil, horrible bigot who doesn't want to get paused.
Thank you for noticing.
But a real physical contagion coupled with the mind virus, right? And then preventing the use of one of the safest, most effective medicines ever created, to the point that the people who invented it were given a Nobel Prize. Right.
And it's now the patent is expired, so it only costs a couple bucks to produce. So you can get it generic. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to be
right?
demonized
It's
at that
cheap.
point.
It's cheap. That's why Pfizer couldn't make millions off of it. So.
Deworm yourselves, people. Deworm. NAC, black seed oil, ivermectin if you can get it over the counter. If your pharmacist and your doctor are cool.
Was it flaxseed oil is also a dewormer?
No, black seed. Black seed oil.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So we got a little distracted here. I know we're all having fun talking about butt worms.
Sorry, yeah.
But so I didn't even get to like the real juicy stuff with the ricatas, and it doesn't even really involve
It's
them.
juicier than what you've gone through already.
So I told you guys about Barnes, right? The law tubers, they blame the priest or the pastor at first, you know, he's got his thing with, he's got his problem with Nick, whatever. Then they blame the police and the investigation and the judge, you know, Nick's talked shit, so they've got a problem with him. Now they're blaming the children. Well, why didn't Ethan Van Sciver, I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Hold on. Who's blaming the children?
Law tubers and a couple of the Comicsgate guys that are Baldo guarding.
Ethan Van Sciver's blaming kids?
He puts out a tweet and says, there's teenagers in that house. Why didn't they step up and take care of their younger siblings?
Okay.
At 16 years old, you should be able to do your own laundry. And he's like, and I know they had a nanny until there wasn't. Privileged children, you need to step up. Some shit like that.
What's the name of
a bad take. I could understand him saying the teenage children should have got the little children out of that situation.
Which I think is what happened. I have a feeling that the older children were the ones that talked to their people at their church.
Should have saved the younger kids, got them out of that situation. But kids who are like victims of abuse, they don't always see the right way. You know what I mean? They like.
Yeah, they don't, especially like you got to figure like they've been homeschooled. They haven't really been socialized the same way that public school children would have been, which isn't not a bad thing. Like, you know what I mean? It's just different. You don't have as wide of a social net as somebody who's
actually significantly better.
It depends on the community you're being socialized in. It really depends on.
Sorry, go
ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
If you're homeschooled, you're likely taught to distrust authority. And
not always. No, not always. I wouldn't take it that far because they were homeschooling through the church, and it's like this weird, like small class size. Everybody rotates, taking turns, teaching classes each day and stuff like that. So they had socialization, but it was in a very small community, which the way I've been putting it for the kids is like whatever bonds that they've started making through their community and their church, like I hope they're stronger, because if those bonds don't hold, they don't have as big of a pool of people to go to for help and support and just even basic compassion and concern, right? So if they make these bonds and they think that they're good people, but the people that they're making the bonds with turn out to be kind of shitty, then these kids are fucked. They've got nobody, right?
Yeah.
So far, it looks like it's going in the good direction because the church did help them, did report, and got the ball rolling on getting them into a better situation and getting everything handled. But yeah, so Ethan Van Sciver says that. He says that the kids should have they should have stepped up. And then he kept making comparisons by him growing up with his dad sold weed for like a mafia in New Jersey and like had all this crazy shit to say. But it's like, bro, I don't think you understand how far into drug addiction this guy was. Cause this isn't like, oh, I'm an addict, so I'm gonna go sell everything I've got and I've got next to nothing and I'm gonna buy what drugs I can because that's all I got. This is a dude who had millions of dollars. Like, you're not going to find you'd be hard pressed to find a low tier, mid tier drug dealer that has 25 grams of coke, let alone 25 grams of coke plus a bunch of other shit just sitting around his house.
Grams or ounces?
Grams.
Oh,
so
grams,
over an ounce of coke, but that's still, dude. Like, how many people do you know would just, on average, just any given day, have an ounce of fucking cocaine chilling in their safe. Like out of all the drug addicts you've ever known. So, if by my estimation, judging by how quick he deteriorated, he probably did 10 or 15 years worth of hardcore drugs in the course of like 2.5 years. Because he had the money to do it.
Right.
So he went through damn near half a lifetime of fucking drug addiction, like in record time, like and in that situation,
drug addiction.
And then so it's like he obviously doesn't know how those situations play out, like how he might have had it rough. There might have been some financial trouble for EVS growing up, but I highly doubt that his parents were so cooked on cocaine that they weren't even fucking buying groceries, right? Like, which seems like that was the situation, was that they were neglecting everything, right? And to say that like a 16-year-old in that situation should basically step up and take care of his siblings, like the way he worded it, he was basically saying like, yeah, sometimes you have to make your own cereal and make your own sandwiches, and sometimes you have to do your own laundry. It's like, bro, they couldn't. I bet if you went through their house, they don't even have a bottle of laundry detergent to do laundry because that money's gone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Mommy and daddy ain't going to the store to buy the shit that you need for the house. And then I think Dick Masterson came out and said the same shit and was talking shit. And like these people are pure evil, bro. Like that's the only thing I can come up with. There was another LawTube guy.
Your parents don't owe you shit, 16-year-old. Take care of your siblings.
Right. And then like there's another LawTuber, Good Logic, LAWGIC. He was doing a stream with somebody talking about it, some broad, and tried to convince this woman that 6-year-olds bathe themselves. And not like he was legitimately trying to convince this woman that a 6-year-old is mature enough to know that there's a bath time every night and I need to get up from what I'm doing and go take a bath and then come back to it at 6 years old.
Like, why, what I don't understand is why are you guys even entertaining this minutia? Like that seems like beside the point. Like the notion, the guy, what was found at the scene should give pause to anybody, regardless of whether or not children can take fucking baths or teenagers should know better, or that's irrelevant. Adult people who have kids in the house need to do better, not fucking children. Like,
Pox, you're a parent, right?
Yes.
You have
for
daughters.
Better or worse.
And 6 years old is probably like 5, 6 is the time that you're helping them bathe themselves and teaching them this is how you wash yourself. And hopefully by the time you're 10, I don't have to do this anymore, right? Is that about right?
Pretty close, yeah. But even then, because at 5 or 6, which was the age of the youngest kid in that house, it's going one of two ways. All right, kid, it's bath time. Yay, and they run to the bathroom. Or, okay, kid, it's bath time, and you got to chase them around the house like you're trying to put a fucking leash on a dog. Or like you're trying to take your dog to the vet. You got to catch them and wrangle those little fuckers into the tub. Like,
right? Because they don't want it, because they've been
having fun. Yeah.
Hey, I'm 40-something years old. I've got a black rubber ducky with a fucking Viking horn helmet and an eye patch. And I don't bathe myself without it, okay?
Well, we know which direction you went when you were 6. I bet your mom was thankful for that, bro.
Like a bolt. Just streaking around the house naked. No, you'll never get me in the tub. You know why? Because my parents didn't know all I needed was a black rubber ducky with a Viking horned helmet and an eye patch. That's all it would take.
But yeah, it's amazing. And there was another guy, and I can't remember his name. It's this older dude, and he was trying to Baldo guard when it first all came out, and then he actually looked at the search warrant, and he does a stream, and he's like, looks like he's gonna cry, and he's like, there's no way I can defend this search, or that I can go up against. I can't do anything about this. There's nothing I could think of that could invalidate the search warrant. It's like, why were you even trying to? Like, it's even if the search warrant wasn't
That's actually
valid or whatever, it doesn't
Sir,
matter because they found all the drugs and the evidence was there, right?
Right.
circling back, that's actually called the scientific method. The whole point is whatever you think you believe, the first thing you need to do is attack it as hard as you can. That's your responsibility as a person who's interested in truth, interested in reality. This is the search warrant. How do we invalidate it? Actually, after attacking it as hard as we can't invalidate it. We have to do the search.
Right.
That's very valuable. They should do that, but they shouldn't be sad or mad that they couldn't. Like,
Yeah, and that's what makes it wild. Like all these people, I think. I mean, the only reason I come up with they would even be trying to defend this indefensible behavior is clout. They want to ride. They want to ride Nick's coattails. They want to be invited to the coke gangbang. You know what I mean? Like
they want to ride him into the fucking grave and
pretty much
off his demise.
And you know what? With regard going back to that guy in Praise of Shadows, part of me was thinking the outlandish shit he said in this 3-hour plus video was probably something. I was like, is he just trying to get clout by fucking name dropping a bunch of bigger YouTubers? And that's what I thought he was doing. Like he was like, he's just fucking clout chasing.
I don't think that's what it is, because he would have been fluffing their balls, not trying to kick them with his,
Yeah, but that's not controversial to say. I love Wendy.
Hit that comment though.
Yeah, that's a good point. Whatever he was trying, that shit backfired hard.
Because they also are doing screwed ups. Yeah, it could be.
So,
could be.
So, are you guys ready to? We've been laughing, making jokes. We've been talking about this. Are you ready to feel really, really, really bad?
How can it get worse? Okay.
So they got arrested.
Yeah.
The day they got arrested, or the day after, was their youngest kid's 7th birthday.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yep. How fucking awful is that, bro? Like, and then
apparently
I want to. It was either EVS or Masterson put out a thing, or they said the kids will be stronger because of this. Like they just know what the outcome is going to be for these children by virtue of whatever.
Resent their father, go up to a bell tower at a university somewhere and fucking shoot a bunch of kids.
Or, bro, there's so many variables. Like the reality is, people that are in situations like that, at least from, and this is totally anecdotal, just from observations that I've made dealing with these kinds of people and stuff. People that come out of those, that are in those situations, very, very, very rarely come out stronger for it.
No.
And then there's always the possibility that they become stronger in the wrong direction, right? So you might be able to, like, yeah, you can cope with all this shit and everything, but now you've grown up and you've got a piss poor attitude. You're terrible to people that are around you, that you're closed off, you're
trustful. Yeah, you can never be hurt because you don't let anybody near you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The more likely outcome is, and this, the probability of this outcome happening is higher than them becoming stronger, well-adjusted people for it, is that they end up sliding into the same shit when they get older.
Well,
right?
Apparently they're with their grandparents now, so hopefully they've got some stability there.
Even then, you gotta wonder what kind of people the grandparents are. We don't know that because nobody's dove into them.
They're better, right?
But,
like, I mean, Raketa made his way into a proper law degree and was cool for some time.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll be a good influence. But that whole thing about that's a Nietzschean idea. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But also, Nietzsche was pretty all in on the concept of the soul. And if it killed your soul but left your body alive, your soul's not stronger. Your body's just there now. And that
and
could
even
be a very bad thing for you and everyone around you.
in my experience, that's usually what happens. It doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you colder and harder.
Yeah.
Right. And like, there's 5 children that are gonna like the older ones are probably gonna be the more fucked up because the little ones are young enough to where they're not.
Yeah, they can't reconcile it. Whereas
Right.
the other one's just
They'll
like,
process it a little easier because they
yeah,
don't quite know exactly what's going on, and they won't have really strong memories of it later in life.
mhm.
Right? Like they might know like, yeah, there was a point in time where mommy and daddy had problems, and we had to go stay with the grandparents for a while, but they're not going to know the hard details until somebody fills them in later in life, right? And by then they'll be able to process it better. So, but the
Yeah.
older ones, like their oldest is 16 years old, and I think they've got like a 12-year-old and one that's like 14, something like that. The older ones, they're old enough to understand that mommy and daddy have a strange dude and a woman that are sleeping in their bed every night, and they always have the door locked, and nobody's opening my SpaghettiOs, and nobody's getting me clean clothes
Yeah.
nobody's getting the kids up and ready for school in the morning, right?
Can I comment on
Yep.
Tatsuya Kai's comment that you've got here?
Yep.
This might be an example of making you stronger. Maybe it did negatively affect her, but it also seemed to have made your sister more empathetic. Like her empathy to this kind of event is so strong, it hurts her still.
Yeah, she has a
And
visceral response. Yeah.
yeah, her soul is not dead. Her soul is actually invigorated to the point that it negatively affects her body. And so you can have that positive and negative effect.
Yeah.
But she very much cares, apparently. So,
Yeah, but I
I
think it's
hope that worked out for her long term.
it's not always the case that kids kids will just forget about it. Yeah, they might, but they might not, right? And it might, well, here's
Remember,
the thing, the kid might get doted on by the grandparents, and the kid might get spoiled a little bit, and then the kid might feel like they can do no wrong because they're a victim, and then the kid might become uh, what do you call it? In love with the idea of being treated special because they're a victim, and then the kid might become a perpetual victim. You never know.
it will affect kids. Yeah, of course it will. The question is how,
Yeah.
and how do you guide them through that effect so that they can be, functional. That's
It's true. Well, as depressing as all that is, I think we need to lighten the mood a little bit. We're getting near the end. We're over 2 hours. We're coming on. We're 2 hours 40 minutes now. So I think I want to move on to no one tells jokes anymore. That's all the same to you guys.
sure.
Do you have one, Mr. Twin?
Maybe. I mean, it's a rip. I've
Okay.
got 2 actually that are rips. You guys know about Leonardo Joni?
No.
No.
Oh yes, I do. Yeah, yeah. You're in love with her. That's right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh fuck. Human hips should not look that way unless a person has forced their way out through them at this point. I don't know how she's that fucking milfy hot at her young age.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, she made this joke one time about she was watching some show or movie and there was a Down syndrome transgender, and she said, "You can't be retarded twice." But she's also Albanian.
Fuck.
She's Albanian, all right? And I heard that Albania has the lowest average IQ of all of Europe. And I look at my girl Leonardo Joni, who is a woman,
Yeah.
and also Albanian, and my first thought was, wait a minute. You can't be retarded twice.
Yeah, okay. We know we're going off from the depressing shit. I've got a joke that's in keeping with our theme. Okay, it's about a lawyer. So a lawyer opens the door to his BMW when suddenly a car comes along and tears it off. Hits the car door and tears it off. When the police arrive at the scene, the lawyer is complaining. He's like angry, really upset. He's like about the damage to his car. He's like, "Officer, look what they did to my Beamer." And the cop goes, "You lawyers are so materialistic. You make me sick. You're so worried about your stupid BMW. You didn't even notice that your left arm was ripped off." And the lawyer says, "Oh my God, where's my Rolex?"
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Because lawyers, fucking lawyers. They're
Fox,
not.
you got one, or
Everybody talks
can I
about
go
lawyers
again?
being like, everyone talks, oh, lawyers, yeah, that's a very prestigious. No, some lawyers are really fucking dumb. They just know the law, but they're
Yeah.
dumb otherwise, and they make really stupid, poor decisions. So, hence,
Case in point, Ricada. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Oh Jesus. So can I go again?
Do it.
I stole it though, just so everyone knows. I
took
don't
that off
remember where I
Alexa,
got it,
so I took that
but
one
I
off.
stole it. So the other day I saw a very black man walk into a tanning salon. And I just thought, like, that's really weird. Like a very, very black man walking into a tanning salon. Like, how do you steal a tanning bed?
That's racist. Thank you for noticing.
Irving wins. That was good. That was good.
Most lawyers are dumb. They're just good at hiding it. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't think lawyers are necessarily, pillars of.
They have
people.
a high argumentative IQ is the best way
Yeah.
I could put it. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Pillful.
they follow. They're on the disagreeable chart, right? They're
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, it's been a good live stream. I want to thank Pox Toxic for coming in and filling us in on the Nick Rakita situation and talking
Yes,
about
thank you,
the
sir.
internet drama. That was a lot of fun. And I want to thank Irving Twin for being my co-host tonight and adding to the conversation. I also want to thank the chat for coming in here and keeping things alive. Tatsuya Kai has been involved in the chat tonight. Thank you. You're the chat MVP tonight. And other than that, I think I'm going to call it a night. We're coming up to almost 3 hours, so I hope you all had a good time, and I hope you'll check my back catalog and like and subscribe and share and all that sort of stuff. Also, check Irving Twin's back catalog. It's very old at this point. He hasn't added much to it of late. But and Pox Toxic, are you anywhere on the socials, or you have a YouTube channel? You did at one point, I believe.
Yeah, I did. Now I just kind of show up here every now and then. I'm
Well,
busy
we're happy to have you.
doing dad stuff and scrapping and doing side work. I guess about all I do anymore is work.
And you
man.
got yourself a
I'm
new
out, I'm out.
truck.
Oh yeah, I fucking love it too, man. This is great. First time I've owned anything with a V8 engine in it, dude. I love this thing.
Fuck yeah.
Well, folks,
But,
we're going to call it a night. Next week, I believe we're going to be on Irving Twins channel for Casual AF. Is that correct?
You know it.
All right. Good.
Before you end it, Craig, I just want to say, everybody who's listening, man, say a prayer for the Ricada kids, bro. Because like that whole situation, I don't know why, but those kids being in that situation and it being so public is really kind of, it's got to me. I think it just hit me in the dad feels like really hard. I can't understand a parent being so far gone that they would just neglect their kids to that degree. So if you could, everybody, if that's your bag, just say a prayer for the Ricada kids tonight before you go to sleep.
Good idea. Cocaine's a hell of a drug, folks.
Fuck yeah.
And with that, we're going to call it. Have a good night, everybody.
Hail Sigmar.